Good, sorry. Didn't push in there. Okay, you guys are all ready? Okay, we're going to go ahead and call this study session to order. Thank you and welcome everyone for being here this evening. We're going to go ahead and start with the agenda item 1, and that's going to be by our Community Service Director, Danny Gallegos.
Good evening, Mayor Fitzgibbons, members of the council. I'd like to go through my presentation on the Ed Hooper Beautification Project. We did receive some CIP funds to do that. We have some different ideas to present tonight, to have some discussions on that. We have taken this to the Community Services Advisory Board, so we do have some input from them, but I'll share that at the end to not influence you on some of your ideas on what your thoughts are on some of these different things. Just to give you a little context on some things going on there now, and some current amenities and some upcoming projects. Now, we are just talking about the entrance type area and the purple area and the red area and some of the trail projects. As you can see in the top right-hand corner, we do have the dog park and we have the playground up there. We will be adding some things to the dog park with this project and some of the park neighborhood funds as well. To beautify that area, but we're really going to be talking about the purple area and that red area. The parking area is another that will include some different funding, so these current amenities will not utilize those same funds. Some other upcoming amenities are BMX. Just to let you know, I have tried reaching out to them recently but have not heard back, so I'm not sure where we're on that. So that will be another discussion to talk about the mound out there and what we do with that. Even if they come in the future, we may have to discuss removing that for right now. At this point, it's not suitable for events, so that's a conversation we'll have to have if I don't hear back from them soon. The trail, which I'll show you those maps here in a second, that's another amenity that we are working on right now. We did have some design issues, that's why it didn't come before council, but we've resolved those design issues, so we'll be coming forward again with that. But it will include some riprap and some lights and landscaping when that project gets complete. Those will probably come in last, and the trail will come in before those two items, based on what direction we get from today's presentation. I threw in the new Veterans Memorial. If you haven't been out there, to give you a little context too, it's got a lot going on, so that's something to consider when we talk about that purple area here in a moment of what we decide to put in there. Will it complement it? Will it be another destination place? Those are all things to discuss. These are where the trails are going to be going. You can see the north area that will start on the turnoff and go north all the way to the dog park, and the south end will go all along through the trees and then alongside the fire station. You can see in this photo the fire station's not there. It does exist right now, though. Mm-hmm. So it's really the red area, which is the entrance of what we're going to discuss today, and along with the fence along Pinal from Rodeo to the northeast corner of the dog park, and then the purple area, which is a blank area, as you know, and it's 2.32 acres, just to let you know, to give you a little context on how big that is. But those are going to be our focus areas for today. And then, of course, the black lines you can see, we'd like to add some sidewalks for people to be able to walk through on what is in that particular area. It'll be easier for people to park, go to the ball fields, or decide just to go into those particular areas to access the trail, access the purple area, for easy maneuvering around the park, especially at that end. So you can see this is the entrance here right now, so we're going to have to improve the asphalt as well. We do have some funds that we're going to be doing some chip sealing and some different things to make sure that gets taken care of as well. So these are some of the ideas that have been brought forward for the entrance area, and the new fence would go along the entire way from Rodeo all the way to the dog park is one of the ideas. A lot of people talk about the gabions, you've noticed, the caged rocks, some people call them, that could be part of that fencing. The only issue with that being part of the entire fence line is the cost. The cost is pretty high. So I think the better idea was to utilize gabions possibly, or other columns. The benefit of gabions is they don't seem to get as much graffiti or vandalism on them. They're easier to maintain for that reason. You can always replace a rock. Of course, we talked about adding landscaping and lights along the trail. The other idea is to put an archway at the entrance. So as you come into the park, it could have a sign on top of it saying, hey, Ed Hooper Park entrance or City of Casa Grande. It could be a variety of things. Or it could be pillars and columns or signs on both sides with no arch. So you see some parks you go into and you have a beautiful sign with a nice structure, with lights, landscaping that you would enter on both sides. So that's another idea that we have. We could put the gabions along with the signage. That would be the bigger expense. But if you just put a basic fence like you see here along the rest of Pinal Avenue, it would be a lot more cost effective. We don't have to put a fence at all, but there is a fence right there. We would want to protect that and have that separation between actually state land and the city land where the trail and landscaping is going to be. Right now, as you notice, we have, I call it barbed wire, but they always correct me. It's not barbed, Danny, but it looks that way to me. But it's actually a fence that does need to come down because it's broken in different spots. So if we replaced it with something aesthetically pleasing like this, it would be a lot more cost effective. That's just some of the ideas. So it would be with an arch or without an arch. These are some of the ideas that we've pulled from different cities. We have some zoos that have full arches on here. We have one at the bottom that actually happens to be a community. And we're not saying we'd have a gate to go in there, but these are some of the column ideas that could be at the entrance. Those could be gabions as well, those columns. And at the upper right corner, you can see where that's a fairly new park, a regional park the Pinal County has. It's called Parral Regional Park. And that's a fairly new structure that's been erected that seems to be pretty popular around the state because it is easy to maintain. It looks nice. So that's another idea that could be on both sides. So I didn't know if you had wanted to wait to discuss this as I move on to the other area, but I just wanted to get your thoughts on what your thoughts are on these two options.
Thoughts so far? Oh, Anthony's ready. Go ahead, Anthony.
I really love the Turtleback Zoo arch. And I know you said that it'd probably be more, it's going to cost us more if we do the rock fencing. I like that too, with the same wire that's on that Turtleback Zoo in line with the fence
structures.
And so it'll match exactly with that right there. But that's Anthony's choice. And I know it's going to cost us a little bit more for that fencing, but because I just believe, and can I say another thing too? Also on the signage. I know here, it's really, I guess that'll light up at nighttime. I see the lights at the very top. Mm-hmm. Well, right down the street at the new firehouse, that's a digital clock, and it lights up and it looks really nice too.
Really nice.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of caught up between that lighting up there to match something similar to what's there in the corner there at, what is that? That's Rodeo Road.
Mm-hmm. Right there
Rodeo
in the
Road,
corner.
yeah, to match that, because I just think coming into town, it's going to stand out.
Yeah.
It's going to look nice, you know, and
Right.
hopefully down the road, there's some other things we would like to do, of course, there.
Right.
And so we really want to make that look really, really nice.
And the cost, I don't think, will be that much more than what you see there with the Peralta Regional Park. I think it's more if we want to continue the extending of the fence that would be the cost. So I think it would be similar in cost if we just did the arch
Right.
with some basic columns of whatever material we want to use, and then the fence can go out a little bit up towards the entrance, and then just revert to a simpler fence. Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So what would that look like?
Matt, raising your hand.
Yep. So I really like the gabion boxes, but in the interest of cost, I think they make great entryway, you know, right there at the entrance. And then maybe at the end of the fences or something to kind of give it
Some points in somewhere else.
You know, a few points.
Yeah.
The one thing about the fence is you have it there, and I don't know specifically what is it. Is it like vinyl or wood? I'm not going to be wood.
Yeah,
I'm
we
sure.
probably wouldn't be wood. It would be more of
Vinyl
a
or
metal
concrete
fence or
or
something
metal.
like that
And
that would
the only
last
thing
a
I-
little bit longer.
Yeah, and that's great. And personally, though, I just like to see it like not white.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
not bright white. You know.
Part of the idea was
all
to
of your
give it a
stuff there
ranch.
is that. And then with the gabion boxes, we had some good luck before when we built the public safety building, police, fire on Val Vista, and we got the local rocks from the mine area, so it kind of ties everything in together.
Okay,
so
have some similar
just a thought,
patterns.
because they got copper in them and stuff. That's
Right.
pretty nice. So
And the copper too, kind of, if you go down Pinal toward just south of Cottonwood, you know that you have some of the copper there as well
Yeah.
as part of that trail entrance with the copper. Okay.
Any other comments? Oh, Sean, sure.
Yeah, I had just, one of my questions Matt kind of covered was what material are you going to make the fence out of? Because we want to make sure it's easily replaceable, because there's car wrecks out there and stuff. And if something happened, someone blew through that fence, we make sure it's easily to find and easily replaceable. And then the arch, there shouldn't need to be a height restriction on that, am I correct? Because if semis and different things need to come in, there's other access.
There is other access. We have discussed that. If we did have a restriction, we would have to send them down the rodeo. Our hopes are that we make it tall enough that a
there
large
shouldn't be
vehicle
any
can get
issues.
through. For future planning, for things that might have to get in there. Let's say when we develop that area on the west side, that we can have access both from rodeo and there is the plan. So. That's going to depend on the design and what we do. If we decide on an arch, how high should we go? And my original thought is we should go as high as we possibly can, just to get larger trucks in there if we can. So,
Perfect.
plus it would look really nice if we had something super big.
Oh,
and
yeah.
people can see them from further away that, hey, we're at Ed Hooper now at City of Casa Grande. So,
Any other comments on this?
No, I'll just add in
Sure.
that the arch is the way to go, in my opinion. Arch with the gabions.
So well, first of all, I'm so happy we're doing this. I mean, literally, it's definitely needed, and especially an entrance to this park. And, with the fire station right there, it's going to be a great addition. So super excited. I'm glad to see that you're getting the Community Service Advisory Board involved. So I would really like to see what their opinion is. For me, I like the idea of the arch, but honestly, I like that Peralta Regional Park one. I just think it's simple, classic, and I don't know. I just think for that could be good with lighting that lights up the sign. But an arch, I think if that's what the community service group thinks is the best thing to do too, I'm fine with an arch too. But again, making sure that we get the height, right, and making sure that you can see what the name of the park is clearly, when you're driving in, because where if we have the arch, is there going to be something that goes the other direction too to show what the name of the park is, or is it just the entry? So, or at least the Peralta, if you're driving up, you can. To me, it seems like you can see it a little bit clearer of what the name of the park is than the arch. So I just think it's just gonna, make sure that the way the writing is or whatever it is has to be clear.
well, the idea behind if we didn't do an arch, to put them on both sides of the entranceway, so you can
Right.
see it from either direction you're coming from would
Right.
be, I think, the plan. So even if it's not an arch, that it's very clear that
Yeah.
you are entering between two
Right.
columns or two big signs that, hey, I'm at Ed Hooper.
Yeah.
So
And
there's
lighting and everything.
inviting, and it's beautiful, and it's whether you're entering an arch, you can clearly see that,
Yes.
or it's something that on both sides that I'm entering a different place.
Right.
So
Right. Well, good. No, great example. So thank you.
okay, we'll move on to the purple area, which I'm going to provide a variety of different slides of themes, if you will, on what could be done with that space. It's 2.32 acres, which, if you want a little context, a football field with the end zones is about 1.32 acres, so a little bit more than 2 football fields that we have to work with. There will be a trail going through that whole eastern end of it, just to give you also a little context of what's going on there. This is what it looks like now, so take one last look. So these are art installations that if you put something in the middle with different trails or different things out, this could be an opportunity for people to come and guiding park users through the park, whether it's a passage with different art things, or it could be something like in Chicago or Philadelphia where people actually could be a destination place for people is one option. Another option would be history and culture. This This could be combined in the previous slide, also could be combined with other things. It doesn't have to be just this. But this could be a little bit closer to home, whether it's Arizona, whether it's something about the native people that were here before, or, could be anything about water and different things going on in Casa Grande. So these are different options. These are smaller, so could be part of a park if we add other things to it. Here's a desert landscaping. I should have put turf on this as well. This could be an area, I believe this actually pictures in Scottsdale somewhere, where it actually has some turf as well as some landscaping with some shaded areas for people to be able to relax, to do different things. I believe they have art statues or different history things on the walls there underneath the shade structures there. And then, of course, you could do something where you have trails and things walking around so people can look at the different desert landscape. You can plant desert trees that are indigenous to here and understand a little bit more about our desert environment. Could be an option with some of those trails. Here's some sidewalks. Does anybody know which one is ours? And where it is?
The middle
Is it the
one's
right?
by the wash.
You got it.
Oh, it is.
So that's our middle one. That's our Rotary Park.
The Santa Cruz.
Yes,
Trail
it's-
guy.
It's right over there in Rotary Park. I actually went and took this picture just last week, so just to get an idea of what it looks like, what the trail is going to look like, but also what people can do once we put that trail in. If we decide to do desert landscaping in that area, we could put different trails that connect to the sidewalks, so just giving you an idea of what that will look like. Here's some other ramadas and pavilions. I believe the one on the left with the shade structures, the big shade structures, is in Arizona. It just is completely covered for people to sit with some small water features. They're more like fountains. It doesn't mean it has to be those water fountains. It could be something else. And then you have another shaded structure with swings. Obviously, this is a lake. We don't have a lake, but it could be a place for people to sit and do different things. And then a basic shade pavilion, which is, I say basic, but a lot of people need shade here in in Arizona, so people can congregate, experience the desert landscaping in that space. Another option would be outdoor fitness equipment. This is fitness courts are from San Francisco to Phoenix. I know Maricopa has one. They have art opportunities on the back side of them would be an option, or it could be, this is actually called a ninja course that you can see at the bottom left for people to do exercise type things. So these are a few of the options that we're presenting tonight. I will go to a little bit about what the advisory board discussion notes. We did talk about it for a good hour and a half, so I condensed it into a small area. Now, I'll be honest with you, there was some back and forth on what was most popular, but what it came down to is they did prefer the metal signs with landscaping and lights. They weren't completely opposed. Some of them were opposed, but more often they wanted to, if we're going to not do the arch, they wanted to have very large signs on each side, so it's clear we wanted. So they were okay if we had a very visible way to get in, similar to the Peralta Trail. The open space, they felt that because we're at a sports complex, they preferred some grass areas like that one photo with some landscaping, so teams between games could go over and put up one of their own tents, relax, be able to throw the ball around a little bit. But then actually what the most important thing, and the longest discussion we had was to provide some shade structures. They felt that if we had some grass and people to relax, some of the youth that are actually participating in games, but then have some shade structures that we can still do some art and have some options there, and people can sit and relax and be able to go to the memorial as well as come over there and see other things that were going on in Casa Grande or what we wanted to decide. Obviously, we would get arts and cultural hopefully involved if we decide to go in that direction. I'll definitely communicate with them. But that's kind of where their ideas were after our long conversation on this very similar presentation. But part of that is discussion here as well, and to answer any questions on what your thoughts are. And I can go back to any of these photos. Hopefully you looked at this before and kind of had some ideas and some questions on some of these particular areas.
Danny, can you go back to the photo that had the grass area
Sure.
with some shade structure? Was it that? Yeah, that one? Okay. Because of course, we want to try to minimize the number of grass.
And
I mean,
that's the
we
part
want
that I-
grass,
that's
but
the-
we're trying to reduce it
Right.
to save water, so, but I see there's, just small areas here with some desert landscaping around it. But, and the artificial turf wouldn't hold up in something like this?
Artificial turf would hold up. It's not going to get a lot of playing time. The only issue with artificial turf is the kind of how hot it is.
Yeah, it does get really hot.
It generates, I believe it's 162 degrees that it gets out in the middle of the summer is
Okay.
what it does.
And that's not shaded.
You
so-
still have to maintain it. You still have to vacuum it. You still have to maintain it. Nowhere to the extent of grass, of course, but the grass is cooler. Even if grass was not decided upon, there could be a place for people to have more shade structures and places where are more comfortable than just concrete benches. So if that's
Right.
the direction we want it to go.
Right, okay. But this is nice because it kind of has both in there. So it's not just one big, field but I think shade is definitely important and so is seating, like some type of seating, benches or, whatever. Because I know that dog park doesn't have a whole lot of seating and there's, I guess there's a few benches throughout the park, but I think that's important if people are just waiting to go and play their game and, finding a place to picnic or whatever in between games or something. That
Right.
could be good.
Doesn't mean that we can't put a ramada. We didn't have to do two. We don't have to do two turf areas. It could be one smaller area for
Right.
turf, and then the other areas could be more ramadas where people can sit with benches and possibly even some tables for them to relax between games and still have the desert landscaping around them more integrated than a regular ramada. Because I think that's the goal of this space is not just, hey, this isn't going to be a regular ramada that we generally have at a park, which are well and good, and that we should continue with
Right.
those, and they're different things. But this is more about beautifying the area and from Pinal Avenue, as well as being a little bit useful to be able to still use, given the opportunity.
Right, okay. Okay, any other questions? Oh, sorry. go
And
ahead.
something like this one on the left-hand side, the intention is let people get out there and I think you even mentioned putting up their own shade. I like it, but I wouldn't want to see it with a keep off the grass sign. But as long as they're allowed to use it, I like that one the best.
Yeah, it is, I like it too.
Anything that we did put out there would have connections to the sidewalks and the trail. So that'd be kind of the idea, is have a staging area to say, hey, I can relax here in the shade, as well as sit around, but hey, I actually have access to that trail that eventually, in the future, we can connect to the south, to the Santa Cruz Wash, and go to different directions. So this would be a staging point for people to be able to do that, regardless of what design we.
And I do
move
like
forward with.
the shape, because of course we know we need fields space, but if this was rectangular or square, like if it was just one big space, someone might think that could be used for field space, or that's really not the intent, right? I mean.
No, but one advisory board member did indicate that it could be some space where some people, some soccer teams or some teams can throw around a little bit, relax a little bit more. So
Yeah.
they did throw, one person did throw that option out there.
Right,
That would be another opportunity for us to throw some grass out there, and some teams can do some basic practice. They can't do a whole lot. It's
Right,
not
with
big
that
enough to really
size.
do that much, especially with cars parking right there and the ball going
Yeah.
over into the driveway and the kids running into the driveway. So it's not really the best place to have an actual field because of that.
Right.
The proximity to cars is the bigger issue. But it doesn't mean you can't have some grass areas where they can play catch or
Right.
kick the ball around a little bit at least. So
To that point, but maybe small fields, like we have some real small soccer players, like young, might be a good little practice. I mean, just
Yeah.
for,
Kicking the
because we're always looking for practice areas during the week, but.
And we would do that closer to the dog park,
Okay.
away from the traffic a little bit. If
guys
we
could-
decided to do this, we'd want to stay away from the actual entrance area. That would probably be where the shade structures would be. And then the turf area would be a little bit further over there, so.
But I really like, you kept mentioning incorporating art into this, and we can make art into like the history part if we wanted. And then also I'd like to see, work with the tourism part, so we could have like, they were talking about having a QR code, so it's like, hey, what's going on this week in Casa Grande? Where can we eat? We got people coming from other places to go to a tournament here. It's like, oh, we want to go grab a bite to eat, hit that QR code, send them somewhere in town, or
Right.
send them to the website. And then if the next slide, I think, with the shade sails. Yeah.
That one.
This one?
I really like the one on the left. If we can, I think you get a lot of bang for your, in my mind, you get a lot of bang for your buck. I could be totally wrong because I'm not in your business, But I would definitely not make them tan and white. I think I'd make them a lot more fun colors to attract
Right.
attention to the area.
You're saying use this as a shade
I
structure
like those a
possibly
lot.
from there.
Yeah.
too.
And then if we, you mentioned, I'm gonna go crazy here, but maybe like put a little splash pad under there, or something. I know you need more heads. Just saying. You're asking for ideas.
There we go. Hey, the other splash pad is busy all
I
the
know.
time, so.
So,
and
It could be a little water fountain. It doesn't have to be a complete
Yeah.
splash pad.
I mean,
with
just
play
like
features.
just the little holes that just
Yeah.
the kids can run through, like at the movie, like they have at the theaters and stuff. So.
I think
Right.
that would be cute. Oh,
Yeah, can you go back like, I think it's 3 slides, kind of to Matt's point. If you have these trails kind of wandering through this area,
This one or
no, go back a few more. Here, oh, that was it.
this one?
And then have some of these kind of monuments, artwork along the side of the trail where you can kind of follow the trail and
Okay.
kind of get some history and information on the area, I think would be kind of a good look. Then to have some ramadas just along that trail and
Yeah, some of the advisory boards members had mentioned that, because people are coming to the memorial, that they can step over, learn a little bit more about your idea of reading about Casa Grande and what's going on here, the history, and then that's a good idea of getting them to go to a restaurant as well.
how long is the trail, the total, what the
Are
distance
we
is?
gonna do that?
I'm sorry?
Are we gonna talk about the trails still?
That wasn't in here, but
Oh.
we can discuss it a little bit
Oh, I
more.
want to, yeah.
It's about 3/4 of a mile. It's not it's not as long as the rotary trail that goes over there. It's much shorter. Well, not much shorter, but it is shorter because it goes from the dog park all the way through. But if there's ideas you have, because our idea was to have a rip-rap trail, it's going to look very similar to what that current trail is at Rotary, and putting lights and benches along the way for the next phase of that. And that'll be different funds. We can utilize some of the trail funds for that particular area. Because it winds through the trees, it's going to give it a natural look, because a lot of people, if they look at it, they just assume it's going to be right next to the fence. Yes, certain parts of it will, over by the dog park and over by the fire station, but along that whole way, it's going to be a nice little walk through those trees. And we already have drip to those, so that's not going to be an issue with us being able to plant some different shrubs and natural things along that way. And then, of course, the last thing would be to put in some rock or different decorative rock out of there. We pretty much want to complete most of this before we do that final phase, based on what we decide to put in there. But some lighting as well, so people can go there either at night, and it's well lit. I think that's part of the purpose. It's not just during the day where it looks like, where you can see it from the street that, hey, the lights are on with the new Musco lighting that we put in last year. That only lights up the fields themselves. So the area right now is fairly dark. So with this new lighting systems we can put in, it'll look really nice and well lit.
Nice.
Is kind of the idea of it looking nice along that whole mile. That's the kind of idea we had for the trail, is really keep it focused trail use, but also looking nice as well.
So
And focus the money on the shade structures, and that's 2.3 acres.
Okay. Sean?
just for clarification, the lighting, is the lighting going to be ground lighting going up to the trees, or is it going to be like lamps like hanging down?
We talked about lamps so people can see the trail itself and continue
Yeah.
walking them, but that's not a bad idea, because we've talked about it at other parks, to light up the actual trees to really give it some lighting.
Yeah, because I mean,
but
you get the light is going to come back down too.
Right.
If it reflects off the trees, it might be.
That's a good idea.
I'm not going to talk too long. I'm just going to reiterate a couple of things I had on my notes is shade. I mean, yeah, shade's a premium in Arizona, so definitely lots of shade. And on the artwork, I like what you said about it. It needs to reflect the city of Casa Grande, the history of Casa Grande, not just, you know, the Arizona or the desert or whatever. I like the idea of it reflecting Casa Grande, all our history, yeah.
I think that's been a common theme is focus on Casa Grande
Yes,
if possible.
yes, if
So,
possible, yeah.
Right. And I think it's possible. It's like it's not possible if we decide not to do
It's
it.
possible.
And since it's named Ed Hooper Park, there should be something that tells us Ed Hooper and, you know, the history and all that there too, so.
Right. And I think a lot of people new to the area get confused about Paul Mason, which
know,
is the
I know.
Paul Mason and which one's Ed Hooper. So
True.
the whole thing is Ed Hooper and just the fields are Paul Mason. So, so anyway,
Okay.
just iterated that to everybody here that doesn't know.
Oh, sure,
I,
go ahead.
I love the trail, you know, I love the trails in the city. And the one at Rotary Park along Santa Cruz is great. And I just want to tell people, I know it seems like we're just doing a piece here and a piece there because we are right now, but we do it where we have the money and where we have the land right now. And there is a master plan that they are all going to connect at some point, but we have to start somewhere. And so that's why we're starting in these places where they're usable now. And then eventually we're going to have a huge loop, and we have that plan somewhere online if you ever want to look at it. But if it seems random, it's not random. It is planned. But we do it where we own the land already and where we can take the lower hanging fruit at this time and get some stuff built, so we're not waiting so many years to build a big trail. So I applaud you, Danny, for that, and thank you in your department, because you know, like I said, it's better to have some than none, and then people start using them more, and then we'll see how it goes and what else we need to do. So, but there is a big plan. We're not just building a mile here and a mile there. Eventually, it's going to be contiguous.
And I think this trail here will complement being able to park there.
For sure.
If you're not a long walk, if you don't need miles and miles, this is a nice walk through that area. And I've also looked at other cities. Cities like Atlanta have a big, they call it the Belt. I believe it's the Belt. And that's not completed yet. It's taken them time to get it. I've walked it before. I've walked the whole thing, and it still has huge gaps on it. And it has signs about funding, blah, 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 do things. I think Cave Creek has a system that took them 20 years to get to that point. And part of what they did is they put a mile here. Then another couple of years, they put another mile here. So it does take time. So thanks for bringing that up. It's not a simple process.
Yeah, thank you. Becca, did you have something?
No, I think it's all great. I like the idea of the desert landscaping. I like the idea of a splash pad, but maybe making it a fountain so that it fits a little bit more with like the area and the desert landscaping and like the artwork. So it's not as maybe like colorful as the one that we have downtown, but maybe one that's more artistic the way it looks. I like that idea.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? Well, we're excited. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the timeline? What's next?
The timeline is first to get to directions. Now, it depends on how fast we want to go. If we want to go fast, I know there's builders right now that would be ready to go. They have things in place like jocks that can take it there soon. If we piece it together, it's going to take a little bit more time. So I think we do need to get some design things done for the purple area. That's going to take a little bit of design. So hopefully by late spring, we can have some progress on this particular project, because it's going to take a little bit of time to get the design. It won't take that long, because I think I'll be honest, we spend a little bit of money right now, it could be done a lot faster. So I guess it's a question, do we want it done quicker than, if we want to get it quicker, it'll cost a little bit more.
What are you doing next weekend?
Yeah, really. Do you want us all out with our shovels? We'll be there. No, really. I mean, we don't want to hold up anything, you know, so if there's something that you need from us, but hopefully, you know, we all gave our input and direction, and of course, we support what the advisory board, you know, what their recommendations are going to be, but there's no reason to just kind of keep kicking it down the road. That we're excited. You know, we allocated the funds to this, so we want to get moving. Looks like everyone wants to move, so it'll
Right,
be
and
great.
that's our plan. Get the direction, get a direction, figure out who's going to get it built, and then go from there and get that design done as quick as possible, and then get started as soon as we can, especially with the trail going in, and possibly even the entranceway can be a priority, along with the fence can be the priority to start off
Right.
with, so you can see that happening, and then the 2.3 acres would be part
Right.
of that.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Danny. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Danny.
That's good.
Okay, next, we have a presentation on the roundabout, and that's Natalie and Clark are presenting, not Kevin. So welcome. Thank you guys for being here.
Sean, you ready?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Natalie Stevens. I'm an engineering tech at Public Works, and I'm joined by Clark Klattenoff, the city traffic engineer. And the purpose of today's presentation is to discuss the intersection improvements at Cottonwood Lane and Mission Parkway. And with that, I'll hand it over to Clark.
Thank you. So we have an intersection that has now reached traffic volume where improvements are needed in order to safely accommodate the movement of traffic. We have looked at a couple of different alternatives. We have reached a point where we are confident that we are beyond being able to do an all-way stop situation. We do need to plan for a traffic signal or a roundabout in order to properly manage the volume and speeds of traffic that we have out there today.
Clark, can you put your,
Mike.
your microphone up a little bit so we can, closer to you, maybe up, there you go, so we can hear you a little bit better. Thank
Is that
you.
better?
Yep, that's better.
Oh,
Thank
I
you.
can even hear it better, I think.
We-
Okay.
We got
Sorry
it,
about
but
that.
yeah.
So the current issues that we have along Cottonwood Lane, we have done some radar detection. We do have speeds out there that are higher than we would like to see them. And also along Mission Parkway, at peak periods and holidays, we are experiencing excessive delays, Mission Parkway, in order to turn onto Cottonwood Lane. So as a consequence of that, we are seeing some unsafe maneuvers that we'd like to manage along Cottonwood Lane. When you have vehicles slowing down to turn right, we have people passing on the left, which is the westbound lane. Not very comfortable with that maneuver. And then when the delays get too long on Mission Parkway, they're beginning to take aggressive moves to turn onto Cottonwood Lane. So with that, we have two potential solutions. We have your traffic signal, very familiar with that, and we do have a few roundabouts in town. That's another one that we would like to discuss for your consideration. Traffic signal, of course, is the most familiar, and it will relieve Mission Parkway queuing and delay by breaking the traffic with the stop condition on Cottonwood Lane. The cons, the things that we are concerned about this is really there are elements of safety on the rural fringe areas to a community. People are accelerating, they're going out into the rural environment. We do see on other areas of town speeding that's excessive to beat a turn or a light. We're also getting people who are ignoring the lights during the non-peak period. They'll get a red light, they don't see anybody, and so they will just continue to travel through red lights. Passing maneuvers at the turn lanes, and there's also a maintenance and cost involved because we do have an electronic cabinet out there and then the lights themselves. So there is a bit of a maintenance cost on an annual basis in order to maintain the traffic signal. With regard to the roundabout, it's really, for a roundabout, there's a big advantage from a traffic engineer's perspective is the safety of them. You're forcing traffic to slow down, and you're eliminating the most dangerous accident, which is your right angle accident. You have a traffic pulling out in a perpendicular strike. That is usually a severe injury or a fatal type accident. Roundabout removes that particular movement from the equation, and it also forces everyone to slow down. It doesn't necessarily reduce the number of accidents, but they're usually minor in nature as compared to the severe accident or severe fatality or severe injury accident. It's also from a traffic operations, and when I say operations, to put it into terms that I like to share is delay. How long do you have to wait to get into the intersection? Or how long does it take you on average to get through the intersection day to day? The roundabout will allow you to travel through that intersection in less time on a routine basis. So it's going to perform better that way. It's also more consistent with the surrounding roadways, particularly as we look to the west. We have a 2-lane bridge over I-10. And there's no plans in the future to change that bridge. We have a lot of other needs that are more of a priority, so a roundabout is more compatible with that. Lastly, a roundabout also will allow us to carry 20 to 30% more traffic on that 2-lane roadway. And the reason for that is oftentimes, think of McCartney at Treckle. We went ahead and installed the signal, and that worked for a little while. But now the queues are backing up again, so we went ahead and added a left turn lane. And again, that helped, but now we still have queues. So the next thing to do is to add that second westbound lane in order to allow more vehicles to queue up at the red light and to get through a lot of amount of green time. So that's really where the progression and the requirement for the number of the lanes occurs, is at the signals, because you're developing that platoon of traffic that needs to get through the signal in a certain amount of time so that the overall delay is reasonable and acceptable to everyone. So the cons to a roundabout is familiarity. You know, people don't like change. And for many people, they never get used to them, and I understand that. And then there's also a need to accommodate all sorts of vehicles other than your common cars, trucks, and smaller vehicles. So that has, as long as it's considered as you're doing your design, those particularly large vehicles can be accommodated in the design. And we have a little demonstration for you. If it's going to cooperate. There we go.
So as you can see on the bottom right corner of your screen, the traffic signal option shows traffic flow on the lower end of the efficiency scale with a higher rate of severe injury crashes. And then in contrast, the roundabout option demonstrates improved traffic flow and a much lower rate of severe injury crashes. And then construction costs and maintenance costs are slightly lower with the roundabout. And then here's some examples of existing roundabouts we have in Casa Grande. We have the intersection of Casa Grande Avenue and Jimmy Kerr Boulevard, Arizola and O'Neill Drive. And then there's a couple roundabouts at Potabom. And then we have an example of a rural area roundabout, which features large equipment navigating through the roundabout.
And as you're looking at, one of the things you'll see on the left is an apron. You can see the concrete apron that's mountable. That's a key feature in the design, is to make sure that you're accommodating your larger vehicles by use of the appropriately designed apron. This one's a little bit restrictive. In the size of the apron, it clearly wasn't designed for the size of vehicles that we want to design for in this particular case. We want to design for a full-size semi-vehicle and then get to know that our agricultural vehicles so that we make sure and accommodate them. Going to close. We've had a consultant that has gone ahead and took a few hours to put together an example of a roundabout. You'll see in the grayish blue in the center there is the apron. That's the mountable area for trucks, a large semi that's turning. You'll see the yellow lines that are crossing over there. That's where the rear wheels of the trailer would cross over that apron in the center of the circle. And also you'll see on the corners, let's say the lower right corner, you'll see a little bit of blue there. Again, there's an apron there. The curb line, the initial curb line will steer common vehicles like trucks, cars, even small semis, buses. But the apron is there to accommodate the very large vehicles. So with that, we invite your questions.
Thank you. Questions, comments?
Yeah,
Who wants to
I
start?
got a few.
Sean? Okay, go for it, Sean.
I'm sorry, I'm just going to not be blunt about this. I do not like roundabouts at all. I just dislike them with a passion. But I'm going to be fair to the idea because I have seen them work in different situations. But my concern is why don't we just put in the additional turn lanes in right there, as opposed to using the entire footprint for a roundabout, put the turn lanes in right there. At least with the future expansion, as the Casa Grande continues to expand on that side of the freeway, now we'll have the option to go back and put stoplights in the future when we are getting that huge. Maybe it turns into a four-way stop someday or something. You know, and we're always going to have that roundabout because we're not going to rip that out once it's in. So what would be the, first of all, what's the footprint on a roundabout as opposed to adding turn lanes and just leaving it a three-way stop if we want to go on the cheap with it?
We're already at a point, even with adding turn lanes, we're still at a point where the signal warrant analysis suggests that we need a signal. A three-way stop will not provide the level of service.
Okay.
So we're in a realm where we need a roundabout or traffic signal. If we go ahead and were to incorporate the turn lanes that you're suggesting and put in a traffic signal, it could be widened. It would probably be some level of reconstruction in order to further enhance or build out or widen a traffic signal. A roundabout that we would be talking about could also be replaced if in the future the decision is made to go ahead and go that direction. They can be torn out. There may be some additional cost to doing that, but it would relatively be nominal. The bigger cost is going to be in changing the traffic signals. So right now, a full traffic signal system on a major street is running us about $600,000. And they're getting more expensive quickly because of the cost of the steel and the chips and so forth. Those are very quickly escalating costs. So your point is valid. Certainly don't want to say that it's not,
Right.
but it's not the huge disparity you might think it is.
Okay. Yeah, and I was also talking to some local landowners that are right there, and they're concerned about their easements on how much property they're going to use if we do build a big roundabout right there, big enough for farm equipment and tractor trailers to get around that thing. I mean, how much of an easement, how much of their property are they going to lose on those corners because of the additional roundabout?
Yeah, the difference ultimately is a roundabout has a narrower footprint on all the approaches because we can stay with the two-lane roadway. So we can stay within the existing right-of-way, but it does have that node, which is the intersection, that is a little bigger footprint. So we'd probably need corners, then the 50 to 75-foot triangles in the corners there in order to accommodate it. But the way that one is laid out, it wouldn't need any further right-of-way to the north.
Okay. Like I said, my biggest concern is continued growth on that side of town. There's developments planning over there, and that intersection is going to get to be used a lot more. And I really think we'd be better off going with turn lanes and traffic lights as opposed to a roundabout.
Yeah.
That's my personal opinion. Cost comparison, roundabout compared to putting in lights, slightly more expensive, you said, for lights?
They're very similar.
But we still wouldn't be able to put turn lanes in at this point, is what you're saying?
So what, the cost estimate we did include turn lanes
Did.
with the traffic signal. And then in this particular exhibit, this one does include the eastbound to southbound right turn. It's a bypass lane in order to move through the right turning traffic out of the way of the through traffic. So again, that enhances safety and will improve operations, minimize delay through the intersection.
Okay.
Okay, is that where it is?
Yes,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my only comments, but I am opposed to a roundabout. I would not like to see a roundabout at that intersection.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Sean. Bob?
I'm going to be the other side of the coin.
Go ahead, absolutely. I heard a lot of positives to it too, so.
I like them mainly for the safety aspect. It does slow the traffic down. We have a history of some hellacious traffic accidents, not only at this location, but at Hacienda and then down at Overfield. People fly through there, and I think this would serve us well to slow the traffic down and get a better handle on it. I also like the roundabouts for the possibility or the likelihood of beautifying that location. And I think back to the one that Florence recently put in. They have a big city monument right as and this is somewhat of an entryway to our city. There is an opportunity to put some kind of art decoration, whatever, with the roundabouts that you kind of lose with a typical four-way traffic signal intersection. So I like it. I do have a couple of questions. Do we have any idea of what may transpire as far as development to the north of here? Is there any development that's set for north of this?
Mayor Fitzgibbons, Councilmember Huddleston, my understanding is that this property is owned by a larger property owner and ultimately has plans, but nothing that we're aware of that's
Okay.
inherent.
Okay.
To address your question, though, we would go ahead, roundabout, we would plan, the design would include the preliminary design through initial phases. In our world, it's called like 30% design, 60% design. Those are design submittals for us. The initial concept would be developed as a four-leg roundabout. And then we would
Okay.
go ahead and drop that element so that in the future, if it were to be needed, it could be added without altering the rest of minimizing the impact to the existing is the best way to say
Very
it.
good. Anyway, I'm a yes on the roundabout. I like them.
Thank you, Bob. Okay, Brett.
All right, I'll split the difference. I do agree with roundabouts. I think they're a good idea. I've been lots of places where they work really well. The difference is, and one of your cons to it was the reason, familiarity with it. People around here are not familiar with roundabouts. It's not that they don't like them, they don't know how to use them. And that causes issues. And I know we have a couple in town, but I don't think they're in areas where people are really becoming familiar with them. This location is where I would vary from Bob and have to go with Sean. I'm not sure if this is the right location for one right now until we get people more familiar with them and learn how to use them correctly. And my other concern is the large farm equipment that would have to go through this area as well. Because did you say you had the farm equipment modeled with this particular size?
Once we know the vehicles that we need to pass through there, we can go ahead and model them.
Okay, so it may actually get bigger than what you're showing here based on.
I don't think so, because The reason I say that is because when you look at a semi-turn in the length, that rear set of wheels on the trailer are the ones that control the footprint that's required. You know, I grew up on a farm. I operated farm equipment until I was about 20 years old. Combines, you know, so I'm pretty familiar with the way they operate. But I know there are new pieces of equipment, and I'm not familiar with this community's particular needs. So
Well,
we
I
need to
used
get
to
that
pull-
information and model it.
I used to pull a hay rake, and yeah, they take a lot more room than, they're offset a little bit, but, yeah, I mean, that would be kind of my concern here, but really it's the familiarity with it, and I don't know if this high of an intersection is a good spot to try and teach Casa Grande how to use roundabouts.
Yes, sir.
That's my main concern, is this may not be the appropriate place to get people familiar with it. I like the idea, just not sure if this is the right spot for it. That's all.
Matt?
I'm going to take a different tack. No. You didn't mention, I've been out to Florence Anthem area, Santan area, and they have, I would call them temporary stoplights. And I would imagine they're a lot less expensive to get something going. I don't know if you guys have modeled that or saw anything about that to kind of look that way, because I'm looking at this purple line on this where you have the proposed right-of-way, which would we have to get that for the roundabout? Because that's a lot of production agriculture land and also irrigation ditches on the
North side.
on the west north side
North
and
and west.
right here on the west side as well, which if that was my production ag land, I wouldn't be very happy about you taking that infrastructure out, and also my livelihood as well as the trees on the east side of that, south and east sides right there, west, south of the road. You know what I'm talking about, you know, and is that what we would have to do to build a roundabout there, is acquire that right of way?
I apologize, that is a misnomer. The designer showed what ultimate footprint for the corridor would be and left it on that drawing. In order to build this roundabout, we would not need right-of-way north of the existing canal irrigation ditches. We could leave those in place. That's the intent of the way this one is designed, is to leave that in place. And again, we would not take right-of-way where it was not needed. So basically, within the limits that you're looking there, as I had suggested earlier, a triangle from the existing right-of-way in the 50 to 75 foot
Triangles right here,
would suffice in order to fit the southeast and southwest quadrants from the current lines. The footprint you see there is as Councilman Dugan pointed out, what happens if we ever need to enhance it and go to 4
ultimate
lanes?
build out then.
That would be an ultimate right-of-way footprint, yes, sir.
And we'd have to see how wide the combines are these days, because they're,
Monsters.
They're not getting smaller.
yeah, exactly. None of that equipment's getting smaller. But I'd like to know more about I would call them temporary stoplights. I'm not totally opposed to a roundabout. I just would like to see that option, because we do have a lot of concerns about roundabout. How is the one working at Jimmy Kerr and Casa Grande Avenue?
Jimmy Kerr, Maine. I'm going to start by suggesting that's a very early version of a roundabout, or a late version of a traffic circle. There are about 8 to 10 different design elements that go into a roundabout as it's currently done. That particular location lacks most of those design elements. So I would suggest that it's wouldn't be something that we would show you today in terms of the features that it has, in terms of pace at which you can go through, but managing that pace. Today's modern roundabouts is more emphasis on managing the entry speeds with 5 or 6 particular key elements to it, and the pace at which you can depart from the roundabout. And they're complementary. Let's just take a look at the upper left-hand corner there. You can see if you're heading to the southeast out of that roundabout, you have to continue in the circle longer than you should. Once you get halfway around that circle, you should be able to accelerate out of the roundabout faster. And that just leaves room for the entry to be better managed. I'm sorry, I don't mean to get too technical, but that's at best a fair example of what a modern roundabout looks like.
I know that I know that Wickenburg has some big ones in it. I've been through there years ago
Yes.
when they were first newer. Sedona has
A lot
way
of
too
them.
many.
Yeah, they do.
Small ones. It might be a solution for, I'm not a traffic engineer, you guys are. So, we put some weight, or a lot of weight into what you guys say. The one thing that obviously the biggest point to me is, number one, the safety, and then also the impediment of traffic, or the speed. It was slower for the stoplight. But I think it's something we're gonna have to really look at and talk to people about now that this is out in the public, and see what the people think. We can learn to do it, but I personally have been stuck in a roundabout in Glendale, embarrassingly enough, one time because I didn't know how to use it. I had to go around a couple times.
Just went around the circle?
Yeah, and they were going fast, and I was trying to get over. It was. I'm dead serious. It was stressful
Because
I don't know how to use it.
And I think
Exactly.
that's what
And that's
Councilman
what
Badillan was
Councilman
talking
Badillan's
about.
I literally experienced that.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to use it properly, which seems funny, but
Read the signs.
yeah.
Yeah. It's just,
So, but they were going fast. They were used to it, and I was not. So, I'm just interested to learn more about it. I'm glad you guys brought this tonight, but it's not something we're deciding tonight. But I want to hear. Sean has a good constituency out there in that area that is concerned about it, and I've heard from people who are, man, this is a great place for it. This is a place we should do it. And then because it is a three-way right now, and I think to Larry's point, it's going to be a three-way for a while, probably, right? We don't know, but
I guess I need to understand your definition of a three-way.
the north.
Yes.
The road going north.
Yeah,
The road.
development
Yeah.
north.
Yeah. Ultimately
Right here where it goes north, Larry.
Yeah.
Where there's no road.
Right. I was thinking about the stop signs, actually, right? All
okay.
three areas there.
Yeah.
And so, actually we understand to Mr. Klattenoff's point that this particular intersection is beginning to reach the warrants, right? We need to do something at this particular intersection. That's why we asked the council to allocate money into the fiscal year budget. Obviously, from a technical perspective, the staff believes that this would be a ideal location for a roundabout. We recognize as a city that this is as a staff that this is a policy decision that the mayor and council will need to make. Because this is new to us from a transportation infrastructure perspective, we thought we would bring the topic to the mayor and council and kind of get your thoughts tonight. The last thing we want to do is go through an entire project and bring it to council for a contract, and ultimately it not meet the expectation. But at least from my perspective, our goal this evening was to actually provide more information related to roundabouts and to compare those to the traffic signal aspects of it. We've heard, at least I've heard, a couple of other alternatives: a three-way stop, widening the lanes. We've heard temporary traffic signals. I don't know if Clark wants to speak on that. My understanding of the temporary traffic signals, just as an aside, is that the county has used them in their urbanized settings. I don't know that it's been anything. We have used temporary once or twice along the way, but they do become problematic to us in the overall approach to solving the issue, and so we'd have to study that a little bit more. But ultimately, we know we need to make some improvements at this intersection, and that's what's driving the dialogue this evening.
I do have a question. Are there a lot of accidents in the roundabouts that we have right now? Are there a lot of accidents that are being reported?
I can't address that question.
Mayor Fitzgibbons, Councilwoman Romo, I don't have that specific information with us tonight. We certainly can do some research on that and provide the information, the data back to the mayor and council. To my knowledge, we haven't had many. but I really don't want to speculate. Let us get that
Yeah,
information.
I think that would be good to know, just because we have them and we use them, and what does that look like there? I've not ever been stuck in a roundabout, but I've been terrified that I could potentially, but it could happen. I've seen a movie that happened, European Vacation, so. But I'm with Bob also. I feel like it is a lot safer, and, you know, when I think about a light there, I see a lot of people running the light with that potential. So again, I don't know what the right answer is, but I'm just curious, like, what does that look like in the roundabouts that we have, and what information we can get for that?
I got one more, Mayor
Okay,
Fitzgibbons. I got
sure.
one more. Speaking on Councilwoman's Romo, numbers on wrecks, that would be a good thing to get from like these cities that already have those roundabouts established, Wickenburg,
Florence.
Cottonwood. I was talking to my brother-in-law over the weekend, and he said one thing, he goes, people, like you said, they don't understand them, they don't know how to use them. A lot of them are big truck drivers. And, you know, he's a tow truck driver, and he tells me, he goes, trucks overturn all the time on those roundabouts because they just take them too fast, and they end up spilling over. And he says it's a nightmare. No traffic can get through there until the tow trucks can pull those trucks back up. So it'd be interesting to see some traffic, what's happening in real time in Wickenburg, Cottonwood, some of these other big cities that have Sedona, you know, that have these roundabouts. It'd be interesting facts.
Could
the
we
numbers.
also find out what the average, like, traffic looks like there? So how many trucks are on that road?
Yeah.
How many,
No,
you know,
no.
like, tractors?
Right.
Are they used for that much? Because I'm trying to think, every time I'm leaving the mall, how often I see a tractor trailer. I don't see that very often, so I'm just
They're running
wondering
in the
how
mornings.
much.
Early in the
They're
morning.
running early in the mornings.
morning.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
When the mall's not open.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
I would say I agree with Bob as well, and Councilwoman Romo in regards to, I believe the purpose in the roundabout that we're talking about is for safety, to slow the drivers down that's coming on Cottonwood, whether they're going east or west, and so it is to slow down. But I also have a concern for the big tractors that are wide loads that are out there, and so that it's wide enough that they can make that turn. I know you had one that was on there, but that's a little bit smaller one. I think there's some bigger units out there that I saw at the farmer.
Oh, yeah.
It's right there. It's a little bit bigger unit, and it needs to be bigger, I think. But I think ultimate purpose of it is to slow that traffic down, and also with a light, I know that's going to be time consuming, and cars will be backing up still. But with this, they can ease their way on and really slow that traffic down too. In the same token, I think that's where we're alluding to, and so I'm for it in that area.
I'm also curious how much more land is needed for the roundabout in comparison to having a turn lane put into that road as well, because we're still going to be
that
expanding
footprint.
that road. So what is that going to look like in comparison?
Yeah, that'd be good.
So it looks like there's a lot of questions still. As far as me, I'm really where everyone is here. You know, love the idea of it, the concept. You know, is this the right location? I'm not sure. You know, I think Florence, the city of Florence would be good. Larry, maybe we can reach out to them to see, you know, because theirs is in that busy intersection, right, coming into Florence, the city of Florence. So I think it could be helpful to understand what they went through, some of the pushback they got. You know, maybe we put like something on our website that shows the, simulations, and maybe get input, feedback, you know, from people to see. But, you know, you hate to just put a survey out there because people don't understand everything, you know, how a roundabout works. So I don't really think a survey is going to really help. But, you know, but maybe there's a way to, you know, get some input, because this is a very busy area. You know, you know, the first thing is we know this needs to be done. So, and we can't be dragging our feet. We can't be waiting another 6 months to get input and all this to move on this. This is something that has to be done. That intersection is really, really busy when you are going out to the mall and there's a lot of traffic. You know, I love your idea as far as it kind of upgrades and beautifies that area, you know, the roundabout in the center area, you could have so much, you know, art or whatever it is, monument in the middle, but I worry that it is a little bit more rural and, you know, not during the busy daytime, and, you know, when people are coming down that road, you know, is it lit up? You know, do people not know a roundabout's there? I'm not sure how that is when it's in a little bit more rural area, especially early mornings and late nights. So, would like more data, or information on that. So I think that, you know, if you can just maybe provide some of the questions, you heard some of the questions that people have, and maybe we can get some of that and hopefully come back soon. So we can, you know, try to move forward on which route we're gonna go. Sean, did
I
you
was
have
just going to
another
bring up
comment?
our winter visitors, you know, when our Casagrande might get used to it pretty quick, but winter visitors come in here and everything's going to start colliding in that
Yeah, but you know,
roundabout.
winter visitors come from cities where roundabouts, they're all over. I mean, Europe, they're all over the place.
Yeah, we're America.
Yeah, I know, but they are in a lot of cities. They are in a lot of cities, you know, so obviously but I understand your point, Sean, no, and it does concern me, you know, especially again, more rural, what kind of traffic is coming in there, is it lit up enough, you know, is this the ideal place, for this particular, but the safety, the traffic flow and everything, it makes sense. I mean, you guys are the traffic engineers, you know, we really don't know, they do the traffic studies, but the rural piece and the type of equipment, you know, the
I know
trucks
they
and
work.
stuff that are coming through is what I would like to know more about. So,
We'd certainly be glad to address all your questions, and I'll close with a comment that in our assessment of either alternative, we would want to make sure that it's lit, so that, you know, again, it's safety.
right,
Regardless of whether, at your direction, we proceed with the signal or the roundabout, we would want to see it lit.
right, okay. Okay, so did you get enough feedback from us? Any other questions then? Okay, well, thank you.
Certainly.
Okay, we'll go ahead and close the study session, and start the regular council meeting at 7 o'clock. So we'll break for a few minutes. Thank you again.
I stay out in Oceanside.
I know. Excuse me. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. We're going to go ahead and start our regular council meeting. And we will start with an invocation from Chaplain Paul Ellis from Casa Grande Police Department. And for those of you that are willing and able, if you want to please stand for that, as well as the Pledge of Allegiance.
Madam Mayor, members of the City Council, colleagues and friends, would you bow with me in prayer? As I pray in my faith tradition, would you pray along with me in yours? Heavenly Father, as we begin the business of this evening, we pause to say thank you. Thank you for the many blessings you have bestowed upon this city and us as individuals. Thank you for the freedom that we enjoy in this country. Thank you for your protection. Thank you for providing for our needs, and thank you for our family and friends that make up this great community. We pray your blessing as the business is conducted on behalf of the citizens of Casa Grande. It is a sacred trust that our leaders do not take lightly. We pray for your wisdom to be granted to these who have been elected to serve and lead this great city. We also pray for your blessing upon all the individuals who serve this community and keep this city operating so efficiently. We remember our first responders tonight and pray for their protection as they watch over our city to keep us safe. Protect them from all evil, and we pray no harm will come upon them. May your blessing rest upon this great city of Casa Grande and all who call this their home. We pray this in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Great, thank you, Chaplain, and thank you, Matt. Okay, first item on the agenda are the minutes. Oh, roll call. Sorry about that. It wasn't the first. If you could, Adriana, if you can please accept for the record that all the council members are here.
So noted.
Okay, now the minutes.
Mayor Fitzgibbons, I move for approval of the minutes of the City Council regular meeting of August 18th, 2025, and accept for the record the minutes of the Community Services Advisory Board meeting of July 25th, 2025 as presented.
Second. Okay, there's been a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Okay, if we can get, are all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. The claims, next on the agenda.
Mayor Fitzgibbons, I move that we approve the list of claims for August 13th, 2025 through August the 26th, 2026.
25.
Oh, yeah, that should be 2025.
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. Adriana, you got that clarification there? Okay. Is there any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the meeting agenda approval. Larry, is there any changes to the meeting agenda?
Mayor Fitzgibbons, there are no changes this evening.
Okay, so if we can get a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, special presentations. Adriana. So again, welcome to Charles Gaston and police recruit Damian Guerrero. Please stay safe. Okay, so we have a presentation from Chaplain Paul Ellis.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, City Council, for allowing me these few minutes. It is my distinct honor to serve as the Casa Grande lead chaplain for the last 4.5 years. And you may be thinking, what is a police chaplain and what does a police chaplain do? Let me just take a few minutes to answer that question. We all know that law enforcement officers regularly encounter fatal accidents, violent crimes, and domestic abuse, and as a result of that, these critical incidents, police officers also find themselves as secondary victims of the incidences that they call themselves to. Yet their resulting stress and oftentimes depression and even post-traumatic stress often goes untreated due to the stigma of seeking outside support. The very independence, fortitude, and self-reliance that make a soul fit for a law enforcement duty for service renders them more susceptible to the long-term effects. And that's where law enforcement chaplains come in, and that's what the need is all about. To serve those who serve and to protect those who protect. This is the charge of a police chaplain. Chaplaincy is a crucial and it's uncomplicated. The call of a chaplaincy is simple: to see the good. As volunteers who exist outside the command structure, yet hold themselves accountable to agency leadership, chaplains are uniquely positioned to lead by example in every situation, in every crisis, in every moment. Chaplains are there solely to support the chaplains or the officers without judgment, to normalize positivity and resiliency to our departments, and to remember of the goodness in humanity that can be overlooked in these obscure times. The International Conference of Police Chaplains, of which I have been a member of for over 40 years, is a global family of men and women dedicated to support and serve those on the front lines. Our ministry of presence is proactive by walking alongside the officers through critical incidents, offering guidance to their families, and advocating wellness practices that remove the stigma associated with seeking and receiving the help. We serve those who think of themselves only in the service that they give. And often we are the only ones that they will receive that help from. In July of this year, I was sworn in as the president of the International Conference of Police Chaplains, more commonly known as ICPC. The organization was established in 1973 in Washington, D.C. by the Department of Justice as a result of the death of a federal agent. The need was recognized for dedicated police chaplains who were well-trained and could respond with consistency. To that end, a group of chaplains from across America were called to Washington to develop a program with the original oversight of the Department of Justice. The goal was to bring consistency in training and credentialing to those who serve chaplains across our nation. One of those original 6 chaplains was our late chaplain Bob Cornelius from here in Casa Grande, who served until his death almost 2 years ago. The International Conference of Police Chaplains now has over 3,600 members serving departments and agencies in the United States as well as around the world. A year ago, when I was president-elect of ICPC, I approached the Casa Grande leadership to inquire about the possibility and the opportunity for Casa Grande Police Department to allow ICPC to have office space to conduct our corporate business and to call it home. The leadership was so gracious in welcoming ICPC to their corporate office, as their corporate office, and making ICPC the corporate office for the International Conference of Police Chaplains. Tonight, I would like to ask for a formal opportunity to thank you, Madam Mayor, to thank the members of the City Council, to thank our city manager, and to thank our police chief for extending such a warm and gracious hospitality to ICPC, to the chaplains around the world providing compassionate care and support of our first responders. As the new president of ICPC, I will be meeting with government leaders in the United States and as well as foreign heads of state over the next few months. And as president, I have been given 10 challenge coins, which have deep significance with military and first responders. And tonight, Madam Mayor, as a token of my appreciation to you and this city, I would like to present to you, on behalf of over the 3,600 members that we have, my first of the presidential coins that I present to the heads of state. And with your permission, I would also like to present to each one of the council my own personal challenge coin as the president of the International Conference of Police Chaplains. Madam Mayor.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Of course. Oh. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
You know, and I just wanted to say, Paul, that literally I don't think they could get a better person to represent the police officers nationwide. So thank you for all you do and for representing our city. And of course, I know, we've worked together for many years on the Faith Alliance board, and so I know your passion and commitment to this, and so thank you for just the time that you're going to spend all over the country. So, again, we appreciate it. Thank you for being here tonight. Mm-hmm. Where did he go? Okay, next item on the agenda, we have a presentation and discussion relating to the topics presented at the League of Arizona Cities and Towns Conference. And so I think we just put this on the regular agenda just so we can have discussion. Is that correct? So for those of you that aren't aware, every year there's a conference where all the cities and towns from across Arizona get together, and there are different sessions and speakers on meetings on, for all elected officials across the country, as well as city staff. So this year, five members, Councilmember Romo, Councilmember Dugan, Councilmember Edwards, and Councilmember Herman and I, along with our youth commission and several of our staff members, were able to attend this great conference. So in the conference, there were sessions that, that all of our cities and towns are facing that were very informative and educational. There were sessions on power and energy, engagement, water, housing, healthcare, workforce, education, AI, and those are just a few of the topics. So there was also several guest speakers that were very informative, and I think we all found that one of the common threads in a lot of the speakers was community engagement and trust. And so it's so nice to see all these faces in the audience today, to make sure that we're getting feedback and interacting with our community. So we heard that time and time in our presentation. We also had a showcase of cities where all the cities just highlight their city and what they're all about, and we always do very well, and we're a popular booth because we, support all the different businesses and provide products that are made in Cash Grand. And one of the biggest products was Lucid Motors, and so we had, this year they had their police vehicle, patrol vehicle, that was displayed at our booth, and so people were super excited when we told them that was made right here in the city of Casa Grande. I don't know if we're going to go with the police vehicles anytime soon, but I know there was a lot of interest from a lot of the other cities. So that was nice. We also provided products from Abbott Labs, their Pedialyte and their, I think they're Frito-Lay. We had Frito-Lay chip. Yeah, Anthony was definitely loving giving away those. Frito-Lay chips, and then Sun Life also passed out a lot of their, coffee mugs and things like that. So thank you to Adriana and all the staff for putting that on. So I'll pause with that and then just have the council members, if you guys want to just give some of the highlights that you saw and learned, from the sessions and everything that you saw at the conference. So would you want to start with you, Sean?
Yeah, sure. It was my first one going to the League of Cities, and I did not know what to expect. But I got to tell you, it was real eye-opening to meet with other people from other cities around the state. 91 cities in the state, potentially going to be 92 here once they add Santan in there. But great learning experience. I sat in some conferences on AI and how artificial intelligence is going to be soon very enveloped in all of our lives, including on the city level. And that was really interesting. The whole thing was a positive experience for me. I really enjoyed attending. So thank you guys.
Yes, it was very, very good meeting. Once again, I believe we learned more by listening to what's going on in other cities as well too. And a lot of the things that we're having issues with, they're having issues with as well. So there was always a common denominator there. But one thing I always love going to the state of the towns and cities is that Casa Grande is very recognized throughout the whole thing. A lot of people bring up Casa Grande and the things we got going on with the businesses here. And I'm just so proud, born and raised here, and I say this a lot, and I'm gonna keep saying it, and I love Casa Grande, I love my hometown, and it just makes me proud when we're around different cities throughout our state that we're still getting recognized, where Phoenix still recognizes us, and it's very rewarding just to hear people talk about your city in a good way. And so, but I did get a chance to go to different other functions, from the policy posts, legislative updates from the Leagues of 18s, all above housing solutions, just trying to gain more information for myself to make wise choices and decisions for our city. The big, beautiful bill, I went to that one, which talks about Medicare, future health care impacts on our cities and towns, as well as the new talent playbook, innovative workforce solutions, as well as ballot influence, understanding the role of special interests in today's referendums, reading the tea leaves, which is every year I go to this one. So you get a lot of good information about what's going on all around the world, as well as in state. And then the last one is funding the future, new reality and grants and assisted funding is the classes that I went to, as we all are able to go to different classes and things. And sometimes we're in the same classes at the same time, but there's a lot of information given, and I really love going to the cities and towns of the League of Arizona.
Thank you. Matt.
I want to thank you all for coming to hear our presentation on League of Cities tonight. Finally.
Yes, it's nice to have them here.
It's a great program that we get to participate in, and the networking is so important because, to echo just a little bit, all the other cities and towns are having a lot of the similar problems that we have at different scales, mind you, but we can help each other find solutions, and we learn. I got to go to, start off, to kick off the conference, our own mayor, she's not going to tell you, but our own mayor, Lisa Fitzgibbon, spoke at a seminar for everybody about our outreach and our community engagement that she's been starting here in our town, and I got more compliments from people that said, hey, she did a great job at that, and it's great what you guys are doing there. So that made us more proud because people do know who Casa Grande. The mayor of Phoenix was on the panel, along with Congressman Stanton that I went to one, and she said, boy, isn't it great coming up the I-10, having it nice and wide? And I said, hello, we're from Casa Grande. It's not quite done. She goes, you're right, there's still a section left. But Congressman Stanton, to that point, I said, what about the rural communities where we're trying to build our this overpass over courts, and we've been putting in year after year after year for RAISE grants, RISE grants, whatever the grant, Tiger grant, whatever it's called that year. And I said, how, he doesn't really represent our area, but he's on the transportation committee. And he said, basically said, call me. And he goes, by the way, Casa Grande's not real rural. I went to Lucid, so people know who we are here in Casa Grande, thanks to the hard work and the community that we are here. That's right. Power was one of the big recurring themes, of course. And I learned this blew my mind. Just APS spends $1 million a day on infrastructure in Arizona. Like building new lines, repairing lines. They were doing it today down on Thornton. But $1 million a day they spend just on infrastructure. And they use they make 8,200 megawatts today, and they predict that to double every 10 years from here on out. And it hasn't grown since 2010, but now it's doubling due to data centers a lot. And they have over 20,000 megawatts in requests that they can't do it because they said we're not going to impact ratepayers with those requests. And just the transformers they need to do data centers and big things, like big factories, it takes them at least 5 years from the time they order that to get those parts. So it's just mind-blowing to learn how all this stuff works and how it affects our communities. The water, of course, another big one went to the CAP. And in case you didn't know, Pinal County takes the brunt of all the cuts of the CAP, but we do what we can. And you know, people are proud of us. We're very responsible here for doing what we can, and we're coming up with solutions with our farmers, with everything else. And we're called the lower basin states here, and upper basin like Wyoming, Colorado, all those guys up there aren't taking their cuts. So they're working on a solution every day to help us with that and get the infrastructure so that we can, so we can have the water that we need. And one interesting thing that they said is, we have this system of delivery. It will take more than just CAP water. From there, we can put other water sources into it to deliver it to our communities. So I thought that was interesting. Mining, playing a big part in our community now with Ivanhoe and Cactus Mine. And they're concentrating on securing supplies in the U.S., and Arizona is really good to work with for mines because our regulations are pretty favorable to mining. And interestingly enough, I go into this panel and I see a gentleman from F&F Construction, a huge multinational construction company, and I graduated high school with them from here in Casa Grande. So just another thing right there that you know. And I won't bore you with anything else, but it's really good for government nerds like us to really get into it and see. Oh, I did learn about strategic plan, which we're undergoing, and I did find out we are in a very good place on our strategic plan, so I was proud of that as well, where other cities don't know where they're going, and we're in our second iteration of ours at this point now. So anyway, I just want to thank the people for doing it, and then the booth, the staff set up, and people cannot believe that we make Frito chips, Abbott Labs, and cars in Casa Grande. They're like, seriously? I go, yeah, we make all this stuff right there. And we gave away these little battery-powered fans, and I saw at the ASU game, Senator Shope and his wife had those fans. So,
Made in CG.
yeah, it's
All
a great
right.
thing we get to do, and it's very beneficial.
Thank you, Matt. And how about you, Becca?
I was very grateful for the opportunity to attend. This was my first one, and I learned a lot about housing, development, and water, and how to understand and meet the needs of our community. I also appreciated meeting other people in other councils and hearing their perspective and understanding some of the issues that they're going through that are very similar to what we're seeing in our community. And just to echo what Councilman Edwards said, is just I'm really proud to live in Casa Grande and to be able to serve.
Thank you. So, and as you all can see, it's definitely a busy time. We definitely go and, are booked from day until the evening in all these different sessions. So not only the sessions, but the networking is also critical. Just meeting all the other council members, and of course me with them as mayor, being with one of 91, or I'm one of 91 mayors in the state of Arizona, and I was elected to serve on the executive committee. So for the Arizona League of Cities and Towns, so I'll be one of 25 mayors that will be on that council again. So it'll be nice to represent the city there. There is, for those of you that know, and I know I've shared this information with Larry, that the executive director position is open with the Arizona League of Cities and Towns. So if anyone knows of anyone, the position is posted on their website. So that's open until September 12th for the director of the league. We also had a mayor's roundtable on education. Education is becoming a big part in a lot of the cities and towns, even though we don't manage the budgets for education in our community, but it's something that we all know is important, that we all need to be involved in. And we are happy because this has always been, well, not always, but probably the last 8 years has been part of our strategic plan as far as incorporating educational goals into our roles and what we do here as a city. So that was nice working with all the other cities and the mayors. Also, we have a coalition for protecting Arizona's lifeline when it comes to water. So I was on that panel, and we do have a video that's going to be going out. I don't know when we're going to show it, Larry. I think it might be on our website or coming up on the website here in the city of Casa Grande. I am on that coalition on protecting Arizona's lifeline, and that's with water in the Colorado River. So that's just a little bit of a highlight of the league. I appreciate everyone going, appreciate all the staff and all the time that they put into getting all of our booth and everything, the accommodations all set for us. So thank you very much. But I think that's probably good. Anything else? Any other comments, questions?
Thank you, staff.
Okay, thank you. So we'll move on to the consent agenda. All items listed with an asterisk are considered routine matters and will be enacted by one motion and one roll call vote of the council. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member or member of the public so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence of the agenda. Is there anything that anyone would like to remove from the consent agenda? Any council members? Any staff? Anyone from the public? Okay.
Mayor Fitzgibbons, I would move for approval of the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. Is there any other further questions? Okay, if we can get a roll call vote, please. Adriana?
Councilmember Rumble?
Yes.
Councilmember Dugan?
Yes.
Councilmember B. Dillon?
Yes.
Councilmember Edwards?
Yes.
Councilmember Huddleston?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Herman?
Yes.
Mayor Fitzgibbons?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Okay, public comments. I do have several speaker cards, but it looks like the majority of the speaker cards are for item number L1. So if you are here to speak on that, we'll wait until that part of the agenda. So this is just if there's anyone else that would like to address the city council at this time. And if you can please limit your comments to 3 minutes. The first person I have is Lee Metcalf. And Lee, if you can give us your address, and of course, if you can limit your comments to 3 minutes, that would be great.
Name's Leander Metcalf, 1634 East Evelyn Street, here in Casa Grande. Madam Mayor and members of the council, I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak with y'all today. I'm here to share my concerns regarding Metronet's recent work in our neighborhood. From the very first day of their construction, there was no communication with us as property owners about what was going to be done or how it would impact our property. This is troubling because even Metronet's own guidelines, which I've provided to you, state that property owners should be informed of the methods and areas of disturbance before work begins. This simply did not happen. Only after we approached the project manager, when the work was already or nearly finished for that day, did we have the chance to raise several health, safety, and placement concerns. However, he dismissed those concerns, insisting that the equipment was placed properly. And after we contacted the city engineers and inspectors, we discovered that the permits had actually not been followed. When pressed, the project manager went so far as to say that if we wanted the splitter box, which they had located on our property, relocated, we would have to pay thousands ourselves. He also suggested that Metronet was being nice to restore the property at all, and that the easement was not even really ours, claims that do not align with Arizona statutes. It was only through the involvement of the city engineer, David, and the city inspector, Francisco, that this issue became resolved. And I do want to take the time at this moment to publicly commend both of them for standing up for the citizens and ensuring that this box would be moved and making sure that Metronet as a company followed their proper permitting. Their work exemplifies the kind of accountability that we as citizens expect. I think most of us here in Casa Grande welcome faster and more reliable internet, but this must not come at the cost of respect for property owners, health and safety, or the integrity of city permits. An easement allows use of property. It does not erase ownership, nor does it relieve companies of their responsibilities. I want to thank you again, Madam Mayor and council members, for your time and allowing me to bring these concerns forward.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Metcalf. And we can't comment on your remarks, but you can also always get with our deputy city manager after, and he can talk to you about that. Thank you. Anyone else? Public comments? Oh, that's okay, Barbara. If you can give us your name and address, please.
My name is Barbara Sundust. My address is 1273 East Cordova Avenue, Casa Grande, Arizona. And again, I'm here to talk about the unhoused situation. There is a committee, and we are having a meeting tomorrow, the Unsheltered Persons Action Committee, and we did send out surveys, which I didn't get to go out to the street, but I went to I did Laundry Love this past Wednesday, and so I asked for the people that are there, if they were in an unhoused situation, if they would fill out the survey. So I have 21 surveys that they did, and I will return those tomorrow to the committee. But there are a few things I want to mention about it, because most of the time, housing, so this is from one of the members, housing is very important before any other services is rendered. So that's what I think. Can't give services to people who don't have a permanent place, some kind of a place. And so she said, I'm 65 and it's very hard to live on the streets. Never was homeless until I came to Arizona. That it's not the fault of Arizona. My husband of 32 years passed away 4 years ago, and since then she just hasn't had a place, which is a situation for lots of people. I really, and here's another person, really need a place for me and my family. A lot of places don't want to rent to you if you've had a recent eviction. And so then I asked her why was she evicted. She was evicted because she lost her job, which happens to a lot of people nowadays, that they don't have their job. And so now she has a family. So most of the people are saying here, I live anywhere they will let me stay. Help me get out of the streets. So again, I'm just begging that we, especially for the unhoused, the tenting people, if we could find a place for them. I know if you've looked in if you've paid attention in Tucson, they're setting up a place that's called Star Village. It's for 25, I think it's women. When I read it, it sounded like it was women, and they would have staff members there at night. And it's not just the city; it's city property, and the city's involved. But other people, other organizations, and service organizations are helping, which would happen here. The churches in Casa Grande, St. Vincent de Paul, they would help if there was a place for these people to be. So. Again, I'm going to say that place is it's on Treckle between 6th and 5th. It would be perfect. They could still come to Laundry Love. They could still go to get food at Seeds of Hope. And, and there's empty buildings right next to it. So I don't know if it's a city property or not. Yeah, I know. I want to just end with this last sentence. I just was looking on Facebook, and this came up. And so I thought, oh, it's very apropos. The measure of a society is found in how they treat their weakest and most helpless citizens. And that was said by Jimmy Carter, who obviously one of my heroes, because he really, even after his presidency, served people, poor and needy people. So thanks for listening again.
Thank you, Barbara.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else? Sure. If you can please give us your name and address, please.
My name is Thomas Vincent. I live at 1427 East Anna Drive in Ironwood Commons. I'm here today because my wife's the president of the HOA in Ironwood Commons, and I'm the president of the Landscape Committee. And like the gentleman was talking about earlier, we also have a lot of problem with MetroNet. Things aren't being put back properly the way they were found. Our HOA meetings, we have a lot of complaints, and they're saying, why didn't you do something? I say, well, go to your city council meetings. Well, I got elected to do that because I got so tired of hearing everybody complain about this. But to make the long story short, we've received close to $2,000 back in damages that MetroNet has done to our water lines. They have wasted hundreds of gallons of water in our neighborhood. We had to pay for that bill, but they did fix what they damaged, but they're continuing to damage in the neighborhood. We have 349 homeowners. Just last week, they had a big truck run up on the rocks so the person could sit in shade while they worked, and they broke another water line. We fixed that one just because we fixed it. Our crew was there. There's 2 big holes in the road that they have patched around the roundabout. They started coming unpatched. I got with the supervisors. I said, look, these are getting worse. We're hitting them with the tires. It was smooth and nice before you came in. They fixed it. Now we're at that level again. And they just don't work with us very well. It's like termites. Everywhere they go, there's something wrong. And being a landscape committee president, they have made me work overtime for the last 3 months, and it made our neighborhood a living hell, basically. But I just wanted to address that, if the city could help with that, because they're really doing damage to our community, and things aren't being left the way they were. So I'll break with that. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Hopefully your neighbors are watching you on TV, so they... Thank you. And if you would like to talk to Stephen Weaver afterwards, and, you know, if you want to get some information, he can get information from you too, our deputy manager. Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. We'll go ahead and move on to item number J1, and that is, there's no contracts. J1 is the reappointment of Richard O'Neill and David Fitzgibbons to the Industrial Development Authority, and I don't see either one of them here. I don't think so. So I guess they're not here, but if we can get a motion to consider the reappointments.
So move.
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, next is item J2, and that's the appointment of Gerald Shingleton to the Board of Appeals. And Gerald, I don't know if Gerald is here. Is he here today? But thank you to Gerald for applying to that. So if we can also get a motion to approve that appointment.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? And I did want to comment, you know, a lot of our boards and commissions are, the appointments are up right now. So I've had a lot of people in interviews on these, and there are a lot of people that have been applying and interested. So I just want to thank the community for their interest in serving, and it's definitely a difficult decision. You know, we're trying to do our best to appoint the right person and have a different variety on these boards and commissions. But I did want to thank all of those who have applied and are applying. We have a couple more for planning and zoning, our community service, and our public safety advisory board. Those interviews are coming up. So a lot more people. So thank you for all those that have been interested. Okay, item number K1. Who is that? Richard?
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. Tonight, the staff is asking for you to consider approving of resolution number 50807, supporting a foreign trade zone designation for the proposed logistics facility located at northwest corner of Effington Road and Clayton Road. This is the NRS Logios facility. They're looking for a foreign trade zone designation. At this point, what they're trying to do is we have to collect letters of support from all the taxing entities, which City Council is one of those, and it goes into an application that they forward on to the federal government to make a designation, to designate their site as a subzone of Phoenix Foreign Trade Zone 75. And what that is, this is the first kind of step. This application goes in, and they'll take their whole property, and the federal government will take a look at it and go, okay, this portion of your property can be designated, can be activated for a foreign trade zone subzone. And so what that does, it gives them some benefits from instead of having to go through the customs at Port of Long Beach, they can actually come in and go through the customs there on site. And so there's a lot of benefits that go along with that for them, including the customs being more, I guess it's easier for them to go through customs. They will get some certain benefits related to piecemeal or final piece costs for the taxing, for ultimately the taxing that goes on to those products that they do. In addition to that, there's property tax, and property tax adjustment, as it explained in there, is a reduction from 15.5% down to 5%. Now, what that means for us is that from the city council standpoint, from the city standpoint, our budget is roughly 7% of property tax. So it is a reduction in our property tax, but what we get for that is a international company that's bringing good quality jobs to the community that's going to generate over time more property tax, more sales tax, more jobs, and ultimately working with our students to create another pipeline for the ability to grow our own and employ our own here. And so, but just a little bit more about the foreign trade zone itself. There's a lot of things that they have to do. It's not just the designation, it's all good, it's the open doors and stuff like that. It's the customs they're going to have to do. They have to, it's administrated by the Foreign Trade Zone advisor up in Phoenix, Denise Yanez, and so they have to pay an annual administrative cost, but along with that, they also have to increase the security and reporting and documentation of everything that goes into that designated area to go through customs. It is customs that come in and make sure that they bless off on it, say, yes, you meet all the standards and qualifications, and then they can receive the benefits. So it's not just a simple process that anybody goes through. It's actually a costly application that goes through, and it could take up to a year to get approval from the federal government. Who knows these days? But at this time, staff, and we're asking for your support to approve a resolution in support for this project. Stand by to answer any questions you might have.
Questions?
Yeah.
Sure, Sean.
Yeah, what kind of traffic is that going to bring? I mean, is it going to be all semis coming out of the port, or are they going to use our rail lines, or how's that coming in?
They're going to be in isotainers, because they're actually geared towards the chemical companies. So it's going to be ISO containers, and they'll be on semi trucks mainly that come in here. They're not going to generate hundreds and hundreds of semi trucks a day, and so there will be some truck traffic out there. But the jobs are about 90 jobs, and so you're not going to see hundreds. And it's not going to be a Walmart distribution. It's not going to be a.
So what's the footprint on that? I mean, how many acres?
It's about 69,000 for the facility itself, and it's got outside storage and some additional storage area on the site. It's on a 40-acre parcel. It's right across the street from Kohler.
Yeah.
Richard, are the customs officers actually U.S. Customs, or do they use a contractor of some sort?
I am not an expert on this, but they have to meet border protection customs standards. It's got to be federal. It's basically has to meet federal standards.
Okay.
So whether they contract out or they actually have border customs there, I think that they contract, but those contractors have to meet certain criteria.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Don't quote me on that.
Richard, how many companies do we have in our industrial area that have this?
Well, we have, thank you for pop quizzing me here on, but basically, NRS would be one, Lucid definitely one, Kohler, Ching Chung has gone through one. We've had another interest by one of the other chemical companies looking at it.
Okay.
Abbott Labs. So we have a number of them,
Right.
and we'll get more because of the thing. And important things, like we're losing tax, we're actually gaining a company that's going to actually drive more revenue to the community. So it is definitely one of those things. And one of the selling points that a lot of companies are looking for, they'll come in and say, are you in a foreign trade zone? And we can answer yes. Right. And do you support foreign trade zone applications? And so that is what a lot of these companies are taking a look at when they make their decision. So if you take a look at that, like a Lucid and some of these other companies that we've attracted because that is one of the tools that we have.
But it's an extensive process they have to go through, so
it's not an easy
really
process.
us just supporting it and saying that we have the
Absolutely. And there's about 12 taxing entities that we have to have letter support from. So we have the high school, elementary school, Cabot, Central Arizona Project, have all signed, all provided letters of support. The county is actually just passed their letters of support from the library district, the flood district, the county itself, and then CAC will be acting on it on the 16th.
Okay.
So we have overwhelming support, so we respectfully request your support for tonight.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? Okay. If we can get a resolution number, please.
Resolution number 5807, a resolution of the Council of the City of Casa Grande, Arizona, supporting a foreign trade zone designation for the proposed logistic facility located at the northwest corner of Etherington Road and Clayton Road, Casa Grande, Arizona, and authorizing the city manager to take other actions and execute such other documents.
Mayor Fitzgibbons, I move that we approve resolution number 5807 as presented.
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Okay, Adriana, if we can get a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Romo?
Yes.
Councilmember Dugan?
Yes.
Councilmember Bedellin?
Yes.
Councilmember Edwards?
Yes.
Councilmember Huddleston?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Herman?
Yes.
Mayor Fitzgibbons?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, item K2. Kevin.
Thank you. Staff recommends that the mayor and city council award a contract with Sunland Asphalt and Construction LLC for the city's pavement maintenance project. This will include Burris Road, Choo Choo Road, and Hannah Road for an amount not to exceed $575,000, which includes a $29,901 city contingency. Staff is requesting authorization to use a City of Glendale contract number C25-0494 to procure this contract, and this will be to perform micro seal surfacing treatment for the existing chip seal roads that I just previously mentioned. That was Burris Road, Choo Choo Road, and Hannah Road. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Comments? Sure, Brent.
I was looking at their proposal. It was dated into June. They said that it was 30 days that they'd hold their price. So are they still going to hold their price where it was at?
Yes.
Since it is beyond that date? Okay. And then I saw that they had some additional terms and conditions included in their proposal. Taking it, Brett's reviewed those and is okay with those? Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, that's all I have.
Any other questions, comments?
No.
Okay, so if we can get a resolution number, please.
Resolution number 5808, a resolution of the Council of the City of Casa Grande, Arizona, accepting a proposal from Sunland Asphalt and Construction LLC for the pavement maintenance project, authorizing the expenditure of public funds, and authorizing the execution of a contract with or purchase order to Sunland Asphalt and Construction LLC.
Mayor Fitzgibbons, I move approval of resolution number 5808 as presented.
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Okay, Adriana, if we can get a roll call vote.
Councilmember Romo?
Yes.
Councilmember Dugan?
Yes.
Councilmember Bedellin?
Yes.
Councilmember Edwards?
Yes.
Councilmember Huddleston?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Herman?
Yes.
Mayor Fitzgibbons?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, item K3, Kevin.
Thank you. Another pavement preservation project. Staff is recommending that the mayor and city council authorize a contract with Sunland Asphalt and Construction LLC to pave the required 5 miles of dirt road in order to meet our PM10 response plan. If council may recall, our PM10 particulate matter, that's the air quality concerns that we have with ADEQ and air quality, and this is our part of our requirements to help reduce that PM10 particulate matter in the air. So we're taking our gravel roads, turning them into paved roads, and that meets our requirements. We're asking permission to use a City of Glendale job order contract number C25-0494, and this project will include the paving of Overfield Road, Early Road, Rough Cut Road, and Grogan Road.
And we went from having to do 1 mile each year to this increased number of 5 miles each year. So that's going to burn up most of our gravel roads pretty quick in the coming years, as long as we continue to have the funds available. And this project is estimated to come in at right around $1,148,634. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions, comments? Sure.
Same questions as before, Kevin. Holding their price, and we're good with all the terms and conditions added on.
Yes.
Okay.
So 5 miles, about $1.15 million, right? Right, that's what it comes out to?
Yep.
Okay, any other questions, comments? Okay, if we can get a resolution number, please.
Resolution number 5809, a resolution of the Council of the City of Casa Grande, Arizona, accepting a bid from Sunland Asphalt and Construction, LLC, for the PM10 response plan, authorizing the expenditure of public funds, and authorizing execution of a contract with or purchase order to Sunland Asphalt and Construction, LLC.
Mayor Fitzgibbons, I would move for approval of resolution number 5809 as presented.
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Okay, Adriana, if we can get a roll call vote?
Councilmember Romo?
Yes.
Councilmember Dugan?
Yes.
Councilmember B. Dillon?
Yes.
Councilmember Edwards?
Yes.
Councilmember Huddleston?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Herman?
Yes.
Mayor Fitzgibbons?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, thank you. Item K4, Kevin?
Yeah, staff recommends that the Marion City Council award a contract with Cactus Asphalt LLC for the partial reconstruction of the CG Lake subdivision pavement project in an amount not to exceed $1.5 million, which includes a very large city-owned contingency of $610,498, and I'll explain why that contingency here in just a moment. Staff is requesting authorization to use an existing Pinell County One Government Procurement Alliance contract number 22-15P-01 to procure this contract. The work will take place in the CG Lake subdivision, and the reason for the large contingency, we're going to be removing the asphalt, and typically we'll go in and we'll do core samples in a subdivision to determine what that subgrade looks like so that we know if we need to plan on having soil cement as part of the process. But in this subdivision, because of the way the pavement has reacted over time, we don't see the types of defects that typically result in bad subgrade. So we have a good idea that the subgrade is in good shape, but we want a contingency in case we get that asphalt up and we find problems, we're able to move forward quickly and get this project completed in a timely manner and not impact the residents in a negative way for a prolonged period of time. So we're hoping we need to not use that contingency, but we want it in place. So just wanted to explain that. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Questions? Sure. Good question.
Oh, yeah. Matt just sits there and stares at me. The soil cement base stabilization, I always enjoy the fact that you have contingency money in there. I'm a big believer in it. I just want to make sure that the method that we're looking at is the most cost-effective method. I mean, would we actually review that subgrade and see if there's an alternative that may be more cost-effective? i.e. remove and replace, or?
Yeah, I mean, the contract does give us opportunities, the one that we're asking to use, other types of treatments, but that's the one that we have found or had the most success with in other subdivisions where we've had failed subgrades. The one that comes to mind is, I can't remember it now. Didn't come to mind.
Casa Grande.
Thank you, Casa Grande. Yes. So yes,
Okay.
we're able to make changes on the fly if we need to.
So Kevin, can you explain, because I know some of the council members are newer, how you decide this subdivision over another subdivision when we were determining where to allocate these funds?
Sure. Actually, the first call I received on this subdivision was probably a year after I started here, and that was 19 years ago. and they wanted us to replace their asphalt. But we shortly after that is when we first implemented our pavement management program. So that's where we go out and we assess all of our pavements, and we assign a pavement condition, and that's a rating number between 0, no road at all, to a perfect road, which is 100. So it's rated from 0 to 100, and when you hit certain points in that pavement life, like 80%, you're going to do some type of a seal coat, like spray paint, new asphalt on top. But when you get into that 70 to 60% PCI, the score, you're going to be doing something more aggressive like a chip seal or a slurry seal. And in this case, the pavement is in that 50 range right now. And that requires a much more aggressive or partial replacement. And we call it a partial replacement because we're only doing the asphalt, even though the subgrade is part of that pavement. If we were doing a full replacement, we would be also redoing that subgrade. So the soil cement is a method to hopefully Band-Aid that poor subgrade soil to hopefully make it strong enough to put new asphalt on it and have a good asphalt life. But each pavement section is part of that system, and we evaluate that on a yearly basis. The software that we use goes through a process, and it basically spits out projects that it thinks we should do based on those pavement conditions. And then we go out and do field verifications and then look at adjacencies to other projects so that we build economies of scale, and then we come up with our pavement management program each year. So that's how that one finally got to the list of needing that replacement.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. Any other questions, comments? Okay, so let's see if we can get a resolution number, please.
Resolution number 5810, a resolution of the Council of the City of Casa Grande, Arizona, accepting a proposal from Cactus Transport to LLC DBA Cactus Asphalt for the partial pavement reconstruction for Casa Grande Lake subdivision, authorizing expenditure of public funds, and authorizing execution of a contract with or purchase order to Cactus Asphalt.
Mayor Fitzgibbons, I move for approval of resolution number 5810 as presented.
Second. Okay, there's been a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Okay, if we can get a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Romo?
Yes.
Councilmember Dugan?
Yes.
Councilmember Vidal?
Yes.
Councilmember Edwards?
Yes.
Councilmember Huddleston?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Herman?
Yes.
Mayor Fitzgibbons?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Okay, item L1, we have a public hearing. This might be why everyone is here today. I'm not sure, but we'll see. L1, so if let's see, that's going to be, is that you, James?
Yes.
James.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council. So this presentation actually covers both items L1 and L2. I understand that you'll have to vote on them separately, but they're joined at the hip. So I'll go through the presentation, but of course, if you have questions about them separated out, I'd be happy to do that afterwards. But the request in front of you this evening pertains to a minor general plan amendment. That's item L1, and item L2 is a zone change, both pertaining to Casa Grande Mountain Park. So a little bit of background is the area that you see on the map that is shaded in blue is the official boundaries as they exist today of Casa Grande Mountain Park. It's approximately 1,350 acres. It's owned by the city and entirely within the Casa Grande city limits. An additional 800 acres just to the west of the mountain park is within Pinal County, and it's owned by the state, but it's assessed, generally available for users of Casa Grande Mountain Park. If you're out there, you might not realize that you're in one area versus the other. These combined is 2,150 acres designated within our general plan as open space. There's some additional acres that I've highlighted there in orange that are used and accessed by the public, and in some areas even maintained by the city, but they are not state, county, or city owned. These properties might be developed privately in the future unless in the future acquired by the city at a future time for open space purposes. It's in the orange area where the trailheads just south of I-8 are located. It might be surprising to know that the parking areas are not on city property, but they're allowed, the owners have allowed the public to park there. So the area in question this evening is approximately 304 acres of land that is owned by the city, but not officially part of the park, and it sits outside of the area designated as open space by the general plan. And until recently, this acreage was reserved as a part of a contract to sell to a private owner. This land would in turn probably be sold by that owner to a developer to develop it into a variety of uses. It's currently titled or entitled as a PAD zone, part of the larger Casa Grande Mountain Ranch Dreamport Villages South planned area development that you see highlighted in yellow. So what the request would do this evening would be two things. One, it would designate that 304.5 acres as open space, general plan designation, and it would also rezone that 304 acres into urban ranch, the same zoning as the rest of the Casa Grande Mountain open space. The photo on the left is a general idea of the acreage in question. It's actually the location of the Erica trailhead. Local volunteers, namely from a local mountain bike group, help volunteer to maintain the trails that already exist on this acreage. And the city generally maintains this area as well, but it does sit within this PAD that you see on the right. Out of that 304.5 acres, 96 acres are designated for low-density residential. So that would mean it would allow development up to about 4.5 dwelling units per acre. And then 92.4 acres within that area are actually designated as open space. But the idea is if this were to develop as entitled, it would probably be allowed to be public open space, but it would serve primarily the residents within that PAD. And then there are 78 acres entitled for very low density residential within that area, so that would be about 1 dwelling unit per acre. And then there's some acreage for medium density residential development up to 12 dwelling units per acre. There's an area towards the northeast corner designated for commercial. And then just west of that, there's about 7 acres designated for a campus tech park. If City Council is to vote tonight both on the general plan amendment to open space and a rezone to urban ranch, this area would be severed from the PAD and it would become urban ranch zoned. When considering the criteria for general plan amendments, this is considered minor because it's going to a more restrictive general plan designation. It's currently within the neighborhood's general plan land use designation per our general plan, which does support a variety of residential development, primarily low density residential, but it does support some areas of higher density and neighborhood scale commercial. Of course, with the general plan amendment, it would go to open space, which is predominantly for preservation purposes. The open space land use designation does allow limited development such as park shelters, water storage, cell towers to take advantage of the grade in that area. However, it isn't conducive or appropriate to support other types of commercial or residential development. The primary general plan criteria that I want to discuss with regard to the minor amendment is goal 04, expanded city network of open spaces, park, and trails. The associated action steps that would speak to this change is that we are to target properties adjacent to Casa Grande Mountain for purchase for open space expansion. The good news is we already own it, so it doesn't involve purchasing, but this is a very ideal property to incorporate into the existing Casa Grande Mountain Park network. Action step 0-411 is to continue to acquire land to develop a scenic corridor around Casa Grande by connecting large parks and greenways with multi-use trails. The thing is there's already trails within that acreage, and so it would be a loss if it were to ultimately be sold for redevelopment, because even though there are nodes within there designated for open space, a lot of the trail system throughout there would ultimately have to be reconfigured. And then the last action steps is to increase recreational resources by maximizing the multi-purpose uses of existing open spaces. The city has their Erica Road trailhead there. There is opportunity to, in the future, if budget allows, for the Parks Department to upgrade that, again, as budget allows for certain upgrades, such as perhaps paving that lot, adding restroom amenities, etc. With the minor general plan amendment, it would result in a 10% increase in the open space general plan designation of properties within the city. But by comparison, what we'd be losing in the neighborhoods general plan category is less than 1%. With regard to the zone change, there's 3 criteria that needs to be evaluated when contemplating changes of zoning. The 3 criteria all have to do with the general plan, which I've discussed earlier in the presentation. We do feel that that there is an opportunity and a community need for the change in zoning. Regarding the public notification efforts, there was a sign posted at the Erica Trailhead, and it was updated to reflect a council date change. There was notification mailed to owners of property within 1,500 feet of the subject area, and publication in the Casa Grande Dispatch. The city has received multiple letters of support. Many of them have been provided to you in your agenda packet. I understand that some didn't quite make it, and they were sent earlier today. We did receive one call from an owner of property thinking that their property was being rezoned, but I think they were just misunderstanding the notification. One call was against the change, citing that the city needs to stop growing and to focus on fixing the sewer and roadway system. I feel that the city can accomplish 2 things: preserve the open space and also tackle infrastructure. There was also a representative of the primary owner of the Casa Grande Mountain Park PAD, the acreage outside of this 304 acres, who would like the city to reconsider the general plan amendment and the zone change. They contend that 92 acres that is to be preserved within those 304 acres could be highly amenitized for the public while still offering prime real estate for high-end development. And he would like to pursue a different direction whereby the city could reconsider. At its July 3rd, 2025 meeting, Planning Commission did forward a recommendation to City Council to approve the minor general plan amendment from neighborhoods to open space, and also to approve the zone change from a portion of Casa Grande Mountain Ranch, Dreamport Villages, Casa Grande South PAD to Urban Ranch. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you, James. I'll go ahead and see if any questions, comments right now. I know it's a public hearing, so we'll open it up, but any questions or comments first from the council? Okay.
No.
Okay, then we'll go ahead and open the public hearing. Is it okay, Brett, do I have to do them individually? So do L1 and then L2 separate?
Yeah, technically, because they were posted that way.
Okay.
You're going to have to do 2 separate public hearings.
Okay.
But people will speak on either one. They're both kind of relevant to each other.
Right, okay.
But technically, we'll have to open one, close, vote on the general plan, because if the general plan doesn't change, then,
Okay.
the rezoning we can't do.
Okay, and then go on to the next one. Okay, so we'll go ahead and open the public hearing. I'll start with the speaker cards that I have, and you can come up and if you can give us your name and address, and if you can really try to limit your comments to 3 minutes. I know we're willing to hear everyone who wants to speak, but if there's someone that made a comment that you just agree with, if you're just going to repeat everything they say, if you want to just say, hey, I agree with so-and-so, that would be helpful too. But of course, we want to hear all of your comments. So I'll go ahead and start with Debbie, is it Mummy? Okay, Debbie Mummy. Sorry, Debbie. And again, if you can give us your name once again and then address.
Good evening. My name is Debbie Mummy. My address is 9916 West Arvada out of Arizona City. And thank you for allowing us to come and speak this evening on this subject. I represent the junior high school mountain bike race team. And Casa Grande Mountain is our diamond in the rough. That's where we train our athletes. We've been training there since 2013, so some of our athletes are Marines now. So they've gone on to be wonderful leaders, and so we're very proud of them. The area that we utilize Casa Grande Mountain. Right now we're on the south side. We start at Erica Trailhead, but we encompass the full mountain, kind of not on the west side, but the east side and north and south. There's nothing better, and especially this area right there, when you're riding through there at night and you see a silver fox or you see a javelina, it's beautiful. I mean, and with all the concrete coming in, to be able to preserve that land, that people can get away. They can hike, they can bike, they can just go out and get away from the stresses of life. Casa Grande Mountain is the place to go. And this coming weekend, our first race will be in Flagstaff. Some of our coaches and our athletes are here. They race with all other high school, junior highs from around the state. And I always say, if you can conquer Casa Grande Mountain, you can ride anywhere. And so because it is a diamond in the rough. And so thank you so much, but I just hope and pray that you guys consider just bringing it in and not allowing more concrete out there, because that's pretty ugly. So thank you.
Thank you, Debbie. How about some of those athletes? Who are those athletes that are here today? Can you stand up? All right. Well, thank you. Thanks for coming. At all ages, right? No, thank you for coming. Okay, let's see. I just have L on this one. So if L1 is when you want to speak, Bonita Vincent.
My name is Benita Vincent, and I live at 2250 East Arica Road, which sort of parallels or perpendicular to West Arica Road, so I don't know how the roads got named. But I agree with Debbie about keeping the open space open, because the wildlife, the people that I see up there hiking, I hike up there, and it's a wonderful place to go and to keep it open. Thank you.
Thank you. And Eric Wilkie.
Mayor and City Council members, thank you for the opportunity. I'm Eric Wilkie. I live at 9105 North Paseo Palo Verde Road in Casa Grande. Casa Grande Mountain's a gem, and it's our city's natural resource. It can't be paralleled. It's other communities would really like to have such a feature. And it's an elevation. That's what makes it special. We have land, we have a lot of land we can develop into recreational land, but there's none with that type of elevation and beauty, really. So I think as we think about aspiring to be a great town and a great city, preserving that resource is important. Some of the other benefits that I think by preserving that land and keeping it and making it part of the bigger park, it enhances not only property values nearby, but it enhances property values of our whole city, because people think about the recreational opportunities when they make a choice to locate their businesses or come to live in that community. It's an opportunity for tourism and recreation. We heard about the mountain bikers. There's other teams that come to ride our mountain. There's people that come from all over the state. It's on the recreational maps of places that are exceptional to ride. And so we attract other people, and they bring economic benefit by their coming to ride our trails. It preserves natural space in a natural environment that's unique and is quite diverse. You can even say it improves our water quality and air quality. Those open spaces are kind of sanctuaries, and they regulate climate, and that's a significant benefit. One other thing by enhancing your parks in your cities is it provides a mental health benefit. It's something we seemingly have a lot of stress and a lot of pressure on our citizens, and giving them open spaces to go out and be active and decompress is very important. So I would encourage the council to think about how this preservation would enhance our city and continue to make it a great place to live. Thank you.
Thank you. So I have Matthew Don, but it says L2. Matthew, do you want to speak now, or do you want to wait to the second part? Oh, second, thank you. Appreciate it. And we'll put your speaker card in the notes, and so your address will be reflected and everything will be in the minutes of the note. Okay, so that's all the speaker cards I have. Is there anyone else that would like to address the council? Okay, if we can start right here, the gentleman right here. And if you could give your name and address, please.
Mayor, council members, my name is Jack Gilmore. Gilmore Planning and Landscape Architecture. I'm here representing Casa Grande Mountain Ranch. My client, George Chassie, is over here in the corner with his son, Mike. First of all, we are not opposed to open space or the trail system. Actually, that's what got George excited about the initial opportunity to acquire this property several decades ago. He saw the potential benefit of developing the master plan community with these connections into the trail system into those mountains. So the master plan, as Jim says, calls for 90 acres of open space. And it was our vision back then that should this, at the time, move into development, we would have a chance to negotiate a relationship with the Parks Department and planning to develop that open space network. Because we want that connection to the mountains. And George made it very clear, we were doing a master plan, that the trail network had to go east and south into the master plan community because we want that interrelationship. So we are very much in support of everything we've heard tonight in terms of the trail system. The interest in these enthusiasts for the biking is going to help the project. I think our request right tonight is not to necessarily oppose the zoning, just the totality of the open space. So we're asking for council consideration to give us 6 months to continue negotiations with 3 national carriers, users, I should say, that do have a serious interest in this project. Getting our arms around the complexity of the infrastructure, access, utilities, water, which you are well aware of, sewer, and adjusting to the market is a challenge for any of these national users. I think it's important, we believe it's important, that if this can stay in the future as part of the project, the cost of those improvements, not just for the trail that we're talking about, but the trail heads, which would include the shelter, the restrooms, the parking, all those amenities. That can stay as a developer-funded expense versus a city-funded expense. We think that would be a huge benefit to these enthusiasts, to the project, and to the city. So that's our request, not that we're opposed, I say, to the trail system, open space, just the totality of it, and to give our team 6 more months to negotiate this relationship with these users. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. You can give us your name and address. We all probably know you, but.
I know. I'm Marcia Heineman, and my address is 8667 South Lamb Road. So I'm right across the street from the park. And I'm happy to see so many of my former students here. It's like old times.
Can you pull the microphone down a little bit, Marcia? There you go.
They're just calling me short.
Yep, there you go.
I just have like questions, and I know you can't answer them, but it's things to think about. And teaching environmental education makes me wonder about the water use, because right now I don't know what the acres are going to be used for. Is that 1 acre lots? Is that big housing development with apartments and, you know, multiple use kind of thing like that? So I don't know how many people wouldn't be needing water. I know you're saying that there'll still be some open spaces over there, but would they be open to the public? Or because it's a new housing development, would the rest of us be shut out? So I'm worried about the water. The electricity, I don't know which company services that area. I know my daughter lives just on the other side of I-8, and she's on San Carlos, and they've lost power multiple times just recently, from the storms. So I don't know if it's that, if they can withstand the strain of extra houses. The landscaping, the desert natural beauty is very important to me, not only supporting the wildlife that lives there, but just the fact that it's, you know, I don't want to see anything happen to saguaros that are over there, or any of the natural plants. So if something were to go in over there, I would hope that there would not be any grass or anything that's not natural to the desert itself. I'm wondering about the roads. Right now, the main road into the park is Erica, and that's, you know, by the truck stop. And most days you can get in, but going back out, it's very difficult to get out using that. So sometimes people have to come down Lamb and go out and around, which is our area. And so that could, if there's a lot of houses over there, that could involve a lot more traffic in our neighborhood that we're not used to. And we enjoy the peace and quiet out there. So I'm concerned with that. And then the amount of grocery stores we have in the town, you know, there's nothing out on that end of town. And when I go to the grocery store, Walmart, any of those, there's several shelves that are empty now that when I'm looking for something. So I'm concerned about that, and whether the schools can handle the amount of people, if it's, you know, if there's a lot of children in that area. Because some of the schools are already, there's no availability for certain grades. I looked that up. I haven't seen this year's, but last year's, they were hurting for having more students. So those are the kind of things, and then just the amount of noise and pollution brought in by construction that could go on for years out in that area, especially with only the couple of roads into that neighborhood. So if you just take those things into consideration, I'm with everybody else that spoke about keeping it just as a natural open park, because I think that draws people into the community as well. Like when you go to Phoenix, there's several mountain parks up there, and that's the thing that everybody's out doing and appreciating, because the rest is all too crowded. So please take those into consideration when you make your decision.
Thank you, Marcia. Okay, next, sure.
My name's Kurt Whalen, 1244 East Judy. This is Liv. More or less just want to be a
the microphone, if you can put it up a little bit. There you go.
Yeah, sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah, a few things, right? So as far as future development, I think we see a lot of businesses that could benefit from a bit more foot traffic and a heavier density in the core part of town, instead of being all the way out here in the outskirts. Furthermore, the town simply does not have enough outlets for the youth. There's not enough healthy outlets. There's not enough to do. If there's not enough healthy outlets for the kids to do, they're going to be doing other things. More so, I think it was very nice that he highlighted some of the benefits, some of the key features that he would want to sell future development on. But instead of having those benefit the few, we should have it benefit everybody in the community. So I hope that's what we would come to a general consensus about. And I heard a lot of I thinks, I believe, but we all know what we want and what we want to see this town look like. And so I don't think we need another 6 months to try and decide or discover what our feelings are. So I hope we can come to a decision on that tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. Good night. Okay. Yes. If you can give us your name and address.
Get the microphone down to the short person. So, good evening, Mayor Fitzgibbons and Council. I appreciate the opportunity tonight to speak to you. My name is Kent Taylor, 1203 East Laurel Drive, Casa Grande, Arizona, and a proud Casa Grande resident for 30 plus years. I'm here to urge you to support the effort to protect and to preserve 300 additional acres for Casa Grande Mountain Park. And before I get into that, I'd like to thank staff, city staff, for being proactive and for bringing these items, the general plan and the zoning changes, to council in a timely manner, and for their professionalism as we continue to pester them regarding this property. The development of Casa Grande Mountain Park was a true community-based effort. City staff, AmeriCorps crews, and thousands of hours of volunteer labor made this park a reality. You now have the unique opportunity to protect and preserve an additional 300 acres for our signature natural resource, while also expanding outdoor recreation opportunities for our residents and visitors. As staff highlighted tonight, this land is owned by the city of Casa Grande. So while there are some here tonight who wish to see this land sold for additional residential development, I would argue that time has passed. There are some things in life that just aren't for sale. This is one of them. As I stated in my recent letter to you, I believe the decision you make on this issue will be a legacy decision. I urge you to leave a legacy of protection and preservation of Casa Grande Mountain Park by approving these two items. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, is there anyone else? Okay, here, hold on, we have one more this way. Name and address, if you could.
Yes, ma'am. My name is Joseph Wood, 1648 East Joel Drive here in Casa Grande. As you can see, I am a member of the Youth on Track organization. I got into it by accident. My son caught the bug last year, started competing last year. My younger daughter saw him race his first race and caught on, and I was worried about her safety, so I rode along, and here I am, a coach, and fell in love with not just riding bikes, but with the community of mountain bike riders. You know, my wife and I looked at property a couple years ago when we were looking to buy a house, and we seriously looked at the CG Mountain area. There's a lot of developments down there. And the thing that made us say no was the Sunland Gin exit traffic area. I know that was commented, but I wanted to highlight in my life, that was an absolute no. It's a safety risk. So I find it very difficult to believe that somebody with lots of wealth would choose to buy a house there with that kind of disaster happening over on that intersection. I'll just leave that said and unsaid. Second of all, housing and recreation don't often mix well. Residents like their privacy. And in my experience, whenever you start trying to intermix the recreation type stuff, there's complaints about dust, there's complaints about noise, there's complaints about whatever. Homeowners will find anything that they want to complain about if they feel the need. And maybe that's not something that we'd have to consider over the next 2 years. But what about 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the line when the homeowners have more power than those in the recreation community? I would just like to comment that Debbie, Mommy, and her husband Phil have been incredible stewards of CG Mountain and the trails. Most people don't know, I never knew, that the reason that those trails were so beautiful is because they literally sit out there in the heat with rakes and they make those things look great. It's inspired me. I know it's inspired many other people to be good stewards of our community and our environment. And I would not want to see that diminished at all. I think that's a great inspiration for our youth. I've also seen many trails over the last year in the state of Arizona. And because I've been able to ride probably a dozen different trails, I've realized how much of a gem we have here in Casa Grande. It's right in our backyard. It is the best hiking. It is the best mountain bike riding. And I would hate to see that diminished by a few residents, really, at the end of the day. And lastly, I just want to say this. I encourage the city not to just approve this measure and bring this into the open space, but I would really encourage and strongly admonish the city to do more. That entire area around Casa Grande Mountain, I feel, needs to be protected. And it doesn't need to be protected just for our community, but I'm talking about the radius of 100 miles of people who like to hike, who like to bike ride. People from Tucson, yes, they have Mount Lemmon. Maybe they want something different. I met somebody up in northern Arizona who saw the CG Mountain and was like, I heard there's trails there. I said, yeah, it's amazing ride. He's like, I'm going to have to check that out. We could bring in a lot of recreation communities into CG Mountain more than we have right now if we just really focused on making that place as good as it possibly could. So thank you.
Thank you. Was there someone else? Did you have your hand? Yeah.
Hello, my name is Nathan Stuland. I live at 1624 East Joel Drive. Much like Mr. Wood, my son over here, one of the athletes of the mountain bike team, got into mountain bike racing, and I sat on the couch, got a little bit fatter, a little bit weaker, till eventually he pulled me out there. And so now I've been biking since January, and much like Mr. Wood, I've been around the state, ridden a lot of trails around the state, and this is a gem. I know that term has been thrown out a lot today, but it is a gem. It's fantastic. It's challenging, it's scenic, it's fun, and we run into some interesting creatures out there. Secondly, young people in Casa Grande, and I believe the gentleman with the small child up here mentioned this. Young people in Casa Grande, my children included, have often said, there's nothing to do. Unfortunately, if we don't protect this area, I feel like that complaint is validated. And so I would hope that we could keep this space the way it is, and I appreciate your time tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Council. Thank you very much. My name is Nancy Wood, 513 Speckle Road, and I just have spent a lot of time with the wildlife here in Casa Grande area with the burrowing owls and such. But that's partly because I grew up here in Arizona. I've been here all my life, and I've experienced the value like South Mountain, like Papago Park, like Camelback Mountain. And when you live in a community and your youth and you're growing up, these outdoor spaces are super, super important and just give a value to the growth of our youth so that they have the experience of the exercise and the outdoors and have the ability to do that. And to have it so close to our city, and it will just give value to every resident here. And it gives value to the city. And I've seen that in the areas where Casa Grande, Tempe, and such. The actual cities themselves, the value that it gave to the city just to have those open spaces that they preserved, that Casa Grande can have the same thing. It'll give the value to all of us, not just a few people. If you sell these to single-family homes and whatever, then you're just benefiting just a few people. If you keep this, you preserve it for all of us here. And then tourism, and other people will come, and we get to meet more people, and it gives more value. So I just preserve as much as you can. You already own it. Don't let that go, and build on it and give it more value. And our youth will prosper from having the opportunity. So thank you very much, and I hope you approve the open spaces. We need it. One last thing is that, we have a tendency to want to have multifamily housing, smaller lots, everybody's more condensed. When you do that, we need that because we have more people, but they need that open space. It gives health and value. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. Is there anyone else? Oh, a couple people. How about, sure. Go ahead. You give us your name and address, please.
Hi, my name is Melissa Williams. Sorry.
Can you bring it down a little bit? The microphone there.
I have a little anxiety, so pardon me.
That's okay.
I want to be a voice for him. My older three, they have gotten the awesome opportunity to race with Youth on Track. This year is his first year. Today, he got to before under one of the other leagues, in one of the other leagues, but same team. When I told him about this meeting earlier today, he had his own phrase. He said, "Keep our mountain a no-home zone." He loves to get to ride. He loves to get to go out there. We love going out and seeing the mountain, and I don't get to ride. My health doesn't let me, but I love getting to know that he's out there and getting to see an experience, and I get to watch that sunset while he's doing it. Oh, and I get to cook for the team.
Oh, good.
That's per his. But I thank you very much for considering this and letting us have this opportunity.
Thank you, and thank you for coming. Did you want to say something? No? Okay. Well, thank you for coming. We appreciate it. Okay, there was a couple more hands, I think, somewhere. Back in there. Okay, there. You want to pull the microphone down?
Yeah. See if I can reach this. Diana Curtis, 1864 East Birch Street, Casa Grande. And I represent the CG Ramblers. We're a hiking club, and we hike at CG Mountain every week, every Sunday morning. So if anyone wants to join us, everyone is welcome. And through the years, I can't tell you the number of middle school students and college students that I have taken to CG Mountain to hike. And it's always been very beneficial. I remember one student said to me that his mother had remarried. He didn't get along well with the stepfather. So instead of staying home on a Saturday to argue with him, he decided to come hiking with us. So being over there is very, very important. Yesterday I was out walking, and I was remembering how I selected Casa Grande to move to. And I was first looking at Tucson, but after spending a day with a real estate agent, I realized it was just as congested as Northern Virginia, and I was trying to get out of that rat race. So I said, "Is there a quiet suburb you can send me to?" And she said, "Go up and take a look at Casa Grande." So I did, and I loved what I saw. It had everything I needed, and it was quiet and comfy, and it had a mountain. And I would love to keep Casa Grande like it is. I don't want to see it get like Phoenix or Tucson and be a rat race. It's nice to grow, but you need to pay attention to your infrastructure, your water resources, and make sure you can take care of everyone. But please save Casa Grande Mountain. It is a gem, as everyone has said.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I think there was someone here. Sure.
Thank you, council. Thank you, community. My heart is racing. I said I wouldn't speak. My name is Tamara Santilli. I live at 8544 South Lamb Road. The mountain is my backyard, my front yard. And my children have gone through the school system. I'm an educator in the school system for over 25 years. And my son is in Alaska right now climbing a mountain because of CG Mountain. It builds dreams. And our former mayor sat with him when he received an award. As my youngest one has just received an award, Kiwanis, and they made the same comment about, please come back to this community. After you've gone and climbed the mountains and built the dreams and fulfilled your dreams and made the money, come back to Casa Grande. My son's coming back from Alaska, hopefully in a couple of weeks. He will take his 2 younger brothers. They will hike Casa Grande Mountain because that's where they were raised. That built their dreams. Please keep the spirit of our youth, of our community, of our children. I've taught in the middle schools, I've taught in the high schools. We have amazing community here. We want our children to come back. We want them to enjoy it, to love it, to go far, go wide, make the money, but come home. Come back to your parents and just hang out at the mountain with us. Watch the sunsets. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, is there anyone else? Oh, okay. Hand here in the green, sure.
As I would always say, I'm Dave Ingstrom from the wonderful city of Casa Grande, right? I live at 9686 North Penworth, out by Indian Hills, by the old trail that we used to have that was bought by a developer years ago, and they've never done anything with it. It sits lined off by barbed wire fence. At least the quad riding and illegal off-road riding has stopped. But I used to be able to leave from my driveway and go ride for an hour, 2 hours. Now we don't have that. All we have is one location. But growing up in Phoenix, and what I call South Phoenix is the concrete jungle, right? And then spending a year or two in Tucson now, because I haul cars, I drive back and forth on I-10 to Phoenix, after spending 25 years of policing in the community. The I-10's dangerous, as Councilman Matt Herman said, so driving to South Mountain is not fun anymore on a Saturday morning, on a Sunday morning, on a Wednesday morning. It's not fun. We have to stay here, and commuting back and forth is dangerous as heck on I-10. And why should I go to Phoenix and spend my money at some other business, at some other restaurant, when I can go here in Casa Grande, ride, have fun, sweat, crash, get some stitches, come back, and then go down to the local coffee shop somewhere, right, where Casa Grande Mountain, even though it may be minor, it's a revenue generator, because since COVID, during COVID, that place was packed. People were out there getting out and then coming in and spending their money, which is a great thing. Even though it's minute and small, it was great. So compared to Tucson and South Phoenix, we have it great. I'm glad that I raised my kids here, because both my kids have been on the team, and I've been a coach, but I'm such a busybody. It's hard to manage a schedule. Scott Tracy's kids are on it. Some of us have spent a lot of time. I think there was a time that Enrique's 20 now. When he was 13, he was afraid to go off the pavement in the dirt until Debbie said, let's push that bike a little farther and go off in the rocks and the dirt. So think about it. That environment has developed kids' minds, because both of mine, my youngest just turned 18, and I will say cycling was a great thing for him. Because when you're in policing, I was never home, because technically my address was my home address. It was 520 North Marshall, because I spent most of my life there. But I will say Casa Grande's great. We have it a lot better than Phoenix and Tucson. I've been in Tucson, and I will tell you, some of the homeless encampments and the other things, and stolen cars, burned out cars, it's destroyed their washes, their desert area. It's destroyed it where you can't even walk down the street with getting in a conflict with somebody. Here we don't have that problem. We have a little bit more control of our environment. Our city leaders have done a lot to make changes. And I will tell you, studying people and cultures and cities is a great thing. We need to keep what we have here now, keep it sustainable, and keep it fun for everybody. I imagine we can always bend a little bit for people to make things happen, but you have to think about the people. You have to think about the community. and the benefits that it gives us. So I will say, even after policing, probably the reason my heart hasn't jumped out of my chest yet, and I think Chief Huddleston can admit, is because you have to stay fit. And if you don't stay fit, we die very, very young after policing. So I'm hoping I can hit 80 in Casa Grande. I think I will. But I will say we need to maintain what we have there. Your cops use it. Your city employees use it. It's a nice open space. And that's all we have. There isn't anything else. Most communities don't have that. So on a short note, because I could sit here and talk all day about fitness and riding. And
we know.
Right?
We know.
I could sit here all day. But thanks for the time. I went over by a couple seconds, but it's okay, right? So other than that, thank you, but please take it into consideration. It's a great place for kids. That's what we have to think about because our youth are important. But thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you. Okay, and then the gentleman here in the front, would you like to come up?
Hello, my name is Todd Suland. I live at 1624 East Well Drive, and I'm the kid that uses the mountain that everyone's been talking about. It's awesome. I hope you guys keep it. I agree with everything that everyone else has said, and I just wanted to say, hey, the kids, we like it too.
All right.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, more, was there anyone else? Oh, one more, back here.
Hi, my name is Chris Ferguson. I live at 9185 West Century Drive in Arizona City. I actually just came to support Diana. I wasn't going to speak, but listening to some of these people talking about, they've grown up here and it's been part of their life. Well, I didn't. I just moved here in January. But my grandparents decided to be snowbirds here 30 years ago. And so we came down every year. We visited them. I brought my children. My children grew up here. Every year we went out to Casa Grande Mountain. Other than seeing my grandparents who let my kids have M&Ms in their cereal, Casa Grande Mountain was the highlight of our trip every year. And it was one of the things that drew me to come back. I've been wanting to move here for 30 years now, and I finally got it done. And it's also because of Casa Grande Mountain that I actually made friends after I moved here. So, it's great for the people who've been here forever, but it's really a wonderful asset for those of us that are fairly new to the community, and I suggest that you hold on to that tightly. Thank you.
Thank you. Sure.
My name is Paul Heineman. I live at 8667 South Lamb Road. I was born and raised in this town. Something that I've always been proud of is Casa Grande Mountain. It has a C on it and a G on it, which stands for Casa Grande. It's our mountain. Let's take care of it.
Thank you. I know it's been long. Sorry about that. The long meeting.
Oh, God. My name is Bobby Joe Caker. I was born and raised here. Left here during the Vietnam War. Made it back 50 years later. As a kid, I grew up off of Peart Road when it was a dirt road. We used to go to CG Mountain quite a bit, and down before all the houses were there, there was down in the ravine, there used to be a lot of verandas and stuff that we used to picnic on. And to my surprise, I saw the houses and the verandas were gone, and so that was a disappointment. I have a few questions. First of all, is the sizes of the lots, the sizes of the homes that will be going on. How will they enter and exit the area? Do they plan on making a new exit between Peart Road and Interstate 8 and 10 where they meet off of Interstate 8? Or are they going to route them down to Silman Road? Because right now the only way to get in there is basically off of Arica Road. and I do support the open space. I wouldn't, and to me, I mean, I kind of consider myself being the last house right next to the mountain, basically, because I live at 2250 East Eureka Road. There's abundance of wildlife. We got the coyotes. I've even had the peacocks. It's just amazing the different things you see. The other thing is, I remember as a kid, the high school cross-country team used to run CG Mountain. There's a lot of memories. I think it would be a mistake changing it to a residential type community, even though it would, to my advantage at my age, it would increase my property value. But I agree with everybody else. Leave it as open. I enjoy the peace and the serenity of the mountain. That's basically all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, is there anyone else? Did we get everyone? All right. So I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing. We're still on L1. So hopefully you don't all get up and speak again at the next one, L2, but if you want it, that's fine. Okay, so close the public hearing. So are there any questions, comments from the council at this point? No questions, comments. Matt, go ahead.
I have some comments. I mean, we've heard a lot of good things tonight, and our city has changed a lot in 30 years, and we value different things now. But the mountain, we keep talking about youth, but a lot of old people use it too. Hiking, biking, trail running, stuff like that. And also, my dad's 80 years old and he still hikes out there. So, I mean, it's for the whole community. But I want to say that the Chassis, Mr. Chassis Jr. and Sr., we've worked with them for a long time, and they've been nothing but kind and have a great vision. But, times are changing, and we have all these people here. And once you get houses, I see it in other cities, Scottsdale, Phoenix, where you try to access trails through houses as soon as the housing development starts trying to shut other people out of the area. So we can kind of avoid that. We still own it. We work with them. Another question is, Mr. Chassis has helped design an overpass there off of the 8 at Hennis Road. So there will be one someday. But tourism's a big one. I'm on the tourism committee, helped start that at the chamber. And I've been pushing them. I talked to Mr. Wallen at this bike shop there about pushing them to have more events here again, like we did, because it's a draw for our community. And it's a jewel. And, it's just, everyone says jewel, and it really is. But the elevation is one thing that we don't have, because I flat ride bikes mostly because I prefer that. But, another thing is my daughter lived in Indiana for a while, and I would hike up there a lot and send pictures. And her friends in Indiana is like, wow, he's hiking that mountain. Mm-hmm. How far is that? She's like, it's 10 minutes from the house. So that's another benefit we have here in the community. So I'm thinking that, we're hearing what people are saying. Again, all due respect to the Chassis, they're great people. But I think we're hearing what people are saying, and it's, it really is a treasure for our city.
Sure. Go ahead, Bob.
I just want to tell everybody thank you for coming tonight. I love this. We love grassroots efforts and support. Makes our job easier. The message that you've given us tonight, I think I can speak for everybody. We have heard you loud and clear. So thank you so much for supporting this and coming down to tell us. Thank you.
No, and I agree with my fellow council members here. Thank you. We really do appreciate you taking the time. It's already almost 9 o'clock at night. past many of your bedtime probably, but but no, really, that just taking the time, all the emails for those people that weren't able to attend. We did receive many emails, and if we didn't respond, we try to respond to many of you, but there were so many coming today, I don't think I kept up with them. But thank you for your engagement. And I think Mr. Hyman said it nicely when you said, it says CG on it, which means it's our mountain. It's ours, mine, yours, everyone here. So I think, we're definitely at a turning point in our community. There's so many changes going on, and it really has been a pleasure working with the chassis over the years. I think, we were, open to see what the development was going to be. We were patient, we gave extensions, we did our part in hoping, to bring something here, but that time has passed, and I think Ms. Kent Taylor said that also, that time has passed. And again, we're at that point now where we know this is a jewel. We understand that how fortunate we are to have this mountain in our neighborhood, in our community. So I think that for me, as we make decisions moving forward and everything in our community, to me, it's always making sure we have the right development, the right place at the right time. And I just think this time is, time to preserve and make sure that we keep that open space. This is the city's property. We're not buying property. This is our property, and we can do what we want with it. And so I just appreciate all the input and everything, everyone that has done, so much on the mountain and bringing these young kids and athletes and young and old. Everyone here today just definitely opens our eyes to how many people use that and appreciate what it means to everyone here in the city of Casa Grande. So just wanted to make that comment. But if there's any other questions, comments, we'll go ahead, and if you can give us a resolution number, please, Adriana.
Resolution number 5273.39, a resolution of the Council of the City of Casa Grande, Arizona, adopting a minor amendment to the City of Casa Grande General Plan 2030 as adopted by resolution number 5273 and as previously amended by changing the land use designation from neighborhoods to open space for approximately 304.5 acres of property generally located at approximately 2090 East Erica Road, Casa Grande, Arizona.
Mayor Fitzgibbons, I move approval of resolution number 5273.39 as presented.
Second. Okay, there's been a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Okay, Adriana, if we can get a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Romo?
Yes.
Councilmember Dugan?
Yes.
Councilmember B. Dillon?
Yes.
Councilmember Edwards?
Yes.
Councilmember Hiddleston?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Herman?
Yes.
Mayor Fitzgibbons?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, so item L2, and that's going to be James, or did you pretty much cover everything, or do you need to continue with?
Did you really want me to?
Well, no, not really, but I didn't. Sorry, James. I didn't know if you needed to say anything more.
I'm happy to answer
Okay.
any other follow-up questions, though. If you
Okay, so questions, comments?
No.
So we'll go ahead and open the public hearing. So if anyone would like to speak, okay, no hands, good, no. No, if anyone would like to speak, obviously, if there is someone, sure, why don't you please come up, thank you. And if you can give us your name and address, please.
Okay, it's Benita Vincent at 2250 East Eureka Road. And my question is, changing it, is it the same thing we just said is open space? And you're changing it to urban ranch?
Yes.
Why do you have to change it to urban ranch?
Okay, do you want to clarify that for us, James?
Sure. So the current zoning of the property is what you see on the left. It's a mixture of different approved land uses. And changing the general plan designation is more of a broader map change. That would inform our future decision, should someone want to change the zoning in the future, we would turn to the general plan designation to guide whether or not the zone change is appropriate. But as it exists, the zoning that you see on the left would stay the same. People would ultimately be able to develop it as currently entitled. It doesn't really change the zoning of the property. It just would affect future zone changes. By changing the zoning to urban ranch, as you see on the right, would mean that it would have the entitlement that the rest of the mountain park has, which is very low-density residential. Really wouldn't be able to be developed for low-density residential because the general plan designation wouldn't support that. But it's just a further step to more specify the specific zoning entitlement for the land.
Thank you for explaining that because it was very confusing.
Oh, yeah.
So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, anyone else? Okay, we're going to close the public hearing. And any questions, comments?
Nope.
From the council? Anything? Okay. So if we can go ahead and get a ordinance number, please.
Ordinance number 1178.469, an ordinance of the Council of the City of Casa Grande, Arizona, amending zoning ordinance number 1178 and its subsequent amendments by changing the zoning from Casa Grande Mountain Ranch Dreamport Villages Casa Grande South Plant Area Development PAD to Urban Ranch UR on property generally located at approximately 2090 East Arica Road, Casa Grande, Arizona.
Mayor Fitzgibbons, I would move for approval of ordinance number 1178.469 as presented.
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Okay, Adriana, if we can get a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Remo?
Yes.
Councilmember Dugan?
Yes.
Councilmember B. Dillon?
Yes.
Councilmember Edwards?
Yes.
Councilmember Hiddleston?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Herman?
Yes.
Mayor Fitzgibbon?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay. Okay. Okay, thank you. So the last item here is item L3, and if you all want to stay, you can. There's only a couple things, but you're more than welcome if you have to leave too. L3, Finance.
Madam Mayor, members of the council, this public hearing is in relation to the report on applying agreed-upon procedures regarding the biennial certification of land use assumptions, infrastructure improvement plan, and development impact fees, commonly referred to as the DIF audit. Arizona Revised Statutes 9-463.05 is the statute that gives municipalities the authority to impose development fees to offset costs to the municipality associated with providing necessary public services to a development. Baker Tilly US LLP performed this agreed-upon procedures engagement to assist management with the requirements set forth in Arizona Revised Statute 9-463.05 G2 to provide a biennial certified audit of the municipality's land use assumptions, infrastructure improvement plan, and development impact fees. The specific procedures performed are outlined in the report that Baker Tilly issued July 31st, 2025. The report included 3 findings, 2 of which related to the calculation of impact fees. Finance worked with the former Planning and Development Director as to the validity of these findings. Any fees that were incorrectly charged have been corrected with the respective developers. In addition, Planning and Development has worked with Finance, and modifications have been made to the calculation and processing of these fees to help ensure they are accurately calculated in the future. The third finding related to variances in growth projections for new housing units, new non-residential square footage, and total population as reported in the land use assumptions when compared to actual results. This finding is one that is virtually in every audit or biennial report issued in all cities, as cities will never hit the projected growth numbers exactly, as the development impact fee study indicates, and this is due in large part to the fact that it is a 5-year projection based on current population at the time the impact fee study is performed. This public hearing will complete the requirements of ARS 9-463.05.
Okay. Any questions, comments?
No.
Okay, I don't think so. So is this just a motion to approve, or how do we?
Yes, although it wasn't listed as a public hearing, but as Ms. Hauser said, you do have to allow the public to comment if they want to.
Oh,
But
okay.
otherwise, it'll simply be a motion to accept the reports of the audit.
Okay. So this is a public hearing. If anyone has any questions regarding this audit. No questions. Okay, we'll close the public hearing. So if we get a motion to approve.
So move. Second.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, finally, let's see, reports. Any other reports? I know everyone kind of gave the league, but anything else?
Yeah. Got to go golfing this weekend, take my son out for his birthday, Dave White course, and I got to say the course looks beautiful for August. Oh my God. I was just, usually our courses around here are pretty beat up by the end of summer, and Dave White's looking good and staying strong, so really proud. Nice.
Good.
No report. I just did see a presentation by the county today about the 150th year celebration, and they're having it October 4th in Florence at the county seat. So all-day thing, look into it. And it's a good predecessor to the Rotary's annual Oktoberfest the next weekend on the 11th, which will be downtown Casa Grande.
Downtown Casa Grande.
Yeah, that's it.
Thank you.
No report, thank you.
Okay.
No reports.
Okay.
I was able to golf too, and it does look beautiful. We can talk about our scores later, Sean. That's it.
Okay, good. I just wanted to give a quick report on, we've talked a lot about the committee that we have for the Unsheltered Persons Action Committee for the Homeless, and we've been meeting, and we have a meeting tomorrow, but we are in the process of trying to identify a piece of property throughout the, somewhere in the city, because the ordinance is going into effect on October 1st, and so we are continuing to, or am I not supposed to be talking about it? Oh, okay. Sorry, they're giving me some looks over there. So anyways, we're meeting tomorrow to discuss this, and Barbara, we can talk to you about that later. Mayor's Reading Club, if anyone is interested, we're still getting people to sign up. Please join us. It's on Wednesdays, and it's an hour. So if you're interested, you can go on the city's website and sign up for the Mayor's Reading Club. It's really fun going into the elementary schools and reading to the children. And the Biz Outlook, which is the Chamber Biz Outlook lunch, is going to be Friday, September 12th, and I will be giving an update, as well as, you won't be speaking, but of course it's an update from all of us that I will be representing, as well as the city staff, an update on what's going on in the city. So that is on the 12th at the Radisson Hotel. So if you guys haven't RSVP'd, please make sure you do that if you're going to join us. And the 9/11 Day of Service is September 20th at Carr McNabb Park. So anyone interested in participating in that, please join us in the Day of Service. And that's pretty much it, I think. So anything else? So we'll go ahead. Okay, guys, we'll adjourn the meeting. Thank you.